good news is, Shana, no pressure, but you're live on Myth Brigade. It's all yours. Guys, I'm doing tech today, so I'm going to sit back and just eat popcorn and watch you probably lose your sanity and die. But thank you guys for playing on Myth Brigade. It's awesome.
Great. Thanks, Jason. So I am Shana. I'm the keeper tonight, and we have players Byron, Tyler, Crissi, Dan, and Rain. And tonight, as I was explaining before I realized we weren't being recorded, I often run scenarios in things that I win, because I figure if I've won it, then the universe is telling me that I need to run something from it. So I won the Dark Ages source book. Actually, I should say Tyler amazingly won. Yes, exactly. The Dark Ages source book, and I won the Rune Quest book there that Byron's holding, and we traded. So here we go. Yeah. We're doing a scenario called Eseweald. That's how we're, even if that's not how you pronounce it, that's how we're going to pronounce it tonight, unless actually Crissi has some knowledge of European languages. Would you feel that that's Eseweald? Weld?
Is it supposed to be UK or?
Yeah, this is Anglo-Saxon stuff. So
I don't know. I know German. I would have said Eseweald, but
Eseweald. Okay, we'll do.
I can be completely wrong.
So it's a hot summer day in 1052. The King of England is Edward the Confessor. You all live in Totburh, which is led by Thane Oswin. Basically, he took a settlement that was already there named Totburh. He had the wealth to basically create a compound in the center there, which I will show you a map in just a moment. And he was able to wall the city, get a mint in place, and basically take over in the service to the king. Right now, all of you know that Totburh is worried about both an incursion from the Vikings, which have been making their way down the Severn toward basically the Anglo-Saxon lands. And then also the Gwent kingdom of Cymri is currently having, let's just say, bad relations with the Anglo-Saxons of the time. And so there is a city called Cordwan, 3 days march from Totburh, and they have been raiding some of the land, some of the incursions into like different settlements that Totburh is in charge of. So you've got those two kinds of things going on there. And so you have all, for various reasons, been called to the Thane. You have been summoned to his manorial compound in the center of the city, and he would like to talk to all of you. So your backstories give you kind of an idea of why you might be called to the Thane. His name is Oswin. You've been brought before him in his main room where he does meetings and business. So he is at a long table, wooden table. There are folks in the hearthweru or slaves or family members kind of all shuffling about in different areas of the room. But you are all standing there in front of him, and he greets you. He bids you to sit down at this great table with him, and gives you some ale to drink if you choose. And he would like to tell you why he has gathered you here. So he is ready to tell you, wants to greet you all and says, I've gathered you here because I need you for a desperate mission. My son, Lensing, is missing, along with members of the hearthweru that I sent out on a peace delegation to go to the city of Cordwan in the Cymri area to try to convince them to go back to the peace agreement that we had before. But It's only 3 days' march to Cordovan. I sent my son and the other members of the Hearthweru out 2 weeks ago. I don't know where my son is. I am very concerned because I hear messages that the Cymri are gathering to attack various areas, and I am afraid that Cordovan will attack us. I need to know where my son is. Can you help? And he looks at which one of you was the Hearthweru? That was Byron. Yeah, hi Tate. Yeah, so he looks at you, Tate, as a member of his Hearthweru, and he looks at you with pain in his eyes when he says,
"Good Thane, let it be known that my love Senric is also missing with your son, and I shall pledge my sword to deliver their return upon my death if necessary."
very good. And brother Mueller, you can help us with this, I hope. What can you do to help us today?
Well, it is a good question. I do not know precisely, but I am willing to go and perhaps negotiate if that is a thing that must be done. I'm happy to accompany.
Oh, brother, you've been a good friend to us here in the Thanes Manor, and I appreciate you. Derwin, son of Sleen, you too have been summoned here. You've done much great work for us in the past. So I have called you here in order to be a part of this mission. So thank you for coming. And then Bjarn, is it? I was sent a message that you were a very skilled guard. Let me see here. Yes, in the market district, but I've heard that you have done a very good job with various fights, with keeping the peace. I've heard that you are very good at following the orders of your commanders and also being very wise in how you carry them out.
I do obey orders and I take your orders, and I do my very best to barge these men and women to retrieve your son.
Now, wise Agnes, I know that it is strange that I've called you here. I know that you are needed in so many ways in the city of Totburh. You are always needed for your skills, but I fear what has happened to both Lensing and the Hearthweru that I sent off, and I also want to keep safe all of these fine folks here. So I hope that you two will be willing to join this mission.
I will do what I can. I'm but a humble healer, but I shall bring herbs. And while I hope my skills will not be needed, if they are, I will do my best to apply them.
That's wonderful. This is going to be a successful mission, I hope. My son is my entire heart. So let me give you all that details. So as I said, they were gone for 2 weeks. I want you to bring back my son, either to rejoin the family or for a funeral so that we can put him to rest in God's eyes. There may be some people in Totburh that can help you with this. Ernwolf may have some information. He is a priest who has actually been to Cordron. Wickgar, he is a market reeve who also has traveled to Cordron. Guthloff is a herdsman who also has been to the Cymric lands, so he may know more information as well. Now, I want to say that I do not know how much time we have. There has been a long ship spotted on the Severn this morning, and without a doubt, the Norsemen are getting braver. I do not want them to join with the Cymri to attack us, and that is my greatest fear. Investigators, I need you to help. What items can I give to you as you go travel through the forest, the dangerous forest to Cordwan?
Well, if you have any more of the spare guards to go along, I could use one or two more, if that's possible.
No, I can spare no more, for if the Norsemen are indeed going to do a surprise attack upon Totburh, I do need to keep as many here as possible. Both Tate here of my Hearth Weru, as well as Bjarn, are quite good at keeping you safe. And then Derwin is also very good at survival. So I think that you should be okay, despite the danger.
Bjarn and Tate and Dorwin are all good as the guarding. Okay, let's work.
Derwin not good at guarding. Good at survival.
Good at survival. Very good. And you have survived through many, many things, my friend.
If your son is captured, do you think that we will need something to trade, perhaps, for him back?
No. I will tell you this.
We shall trade their lives, Brother Mueller.
I would like to say that although my son Lensing is my heart, I need for there to be peace if possible. I would like it for us to not enter into a war footing with Cordwan, if that is at all possible.
Well, lives are good for trade, but if we're not going to use violence at first, perhaps we should bring some gold.
I will let you know this. As a peace offering, I provided Lensing with 6 golden armbands to bring to Cordwan as a peace offering. So while those were extremely expensive to make and cost a great deal, still I would want those, if found, to be brought to Cordwan.
Okay, so we have a deposit. Excellent. All right.
Well,
Three things I can think of that might be useful.
yes.
First, in terms of transportation, a cart, something that would be adequate, should we need to bring your son home and it not be safe for him to ride horseback, something that could carry him if he is injured.
Certainly, absolutely. The road can get rough at times, but you can have one of our pack horses and a large cart that can carry any items, and God forbid if any bodies need to be brought home to rest under the eyes of God.
Yes, God forbid. Secondly, I would like some money for incidental expenses and or bribes. There are some who will talk for a coin who won't talk for the good Lord and who would flee from a sword.
Oh, of course. That's no object. I will definitely provide your party with a suitable amount of coinage for all of those reasons. And what was the third thing that you would like, Wise Agnes?
The third thing is a message written and under your royal seal in the event that we end up encountering the forces that are currently arrayed against us and they have not gotten your son's message. We need something to deliver them that will indicate your intention of a peaceful resolution.
Oh, indeed. Absolutely. That has already been prepared for you as one of the things that I was going to leave with you. And so he was going to pull that out later as you guys left, but he has pulled that out now and hands it to Tate.
I'm sorry, what did he pull out?
He had prepared a letter such as Wise Agnes had said with his seal upon it. So he actually can't read what's on there, but the scribe did put that down there and he sealed it.
I'm glad to hear that you and your wisdom have anticipated that. Thank you.
Well, your band should soon depart. As it is morning, I want you to have a full day to begin to travel. Also, like I said, there may be folks around Totburh that can give you some more information than I've ever experienced, both about the Cymri and about the forest that you will be traveling through. Let me go ahead and get this map up for you guys. So I'm going to share screen and get.
Do we know any rumors about Cordovan? Is it the name of the place? Is it like a comfortable place? Like, do they have nice beds and things like that, or is it more like a hole? That's what Magnus wants to know.
Cordovan is a city just like Totburh.
Okay,
It's
all right.
basically a rather large walled community. So it's going to have lots of beds, lots of pubs for sure. Let me get into my map, because I want you to see. Just one moment. For some reason, it's not. There we go. All right. So I'm going to share screen. Oh, the host has disabled sharing screen, Jason, if he's there. But as you all know, I hate combat and don't really know direction anyway. So
I'm here.
Either Jason will hear us and I can share a map, or it doesn't really matter anyway.
We can now.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking
Awesome.
at it in a second.
Thank you. No worries. It's still disabled.
Multiple.
So anyway, imagine, if you will, there is to the west, there is the Severn River, and that actually flows inside the city itself. There is a wall basically around where there are guarded basically bridges over the river. The wall extends around the entire community. There are various palisades that the Hearthweru and other guards do walk upon in guarding the city. The compound that you're currently in, talking to the Thane, that's right in the center of the city. Basically, you've got the fisher folk more toward the river. And then there's pretty much any amenity that a larger community in the Dark Ages would have. Let me go ahead and try to share screen again. Aha!
Is it working?
Yep, that works.
Fantastic.
I just need to find this. All right, guys, there you go.
Ooh.
So that's what I described.
Holy shit.
How many people live in Totburh?
It's a rather a large settlement, probably 15 to 20,000 people.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and Cordovan is of a similar size.
Got it.
And then as you can see here, basically you'd be going along the road to the north if you chose, and that's what will eventually take you across the Severn into the Forest of Dean, and then on to Cordovan. I'm going to stop sharing unless you want to look at one more thing.
Oh, I think that's pretty good.
All right. So what do you guys want to do now?
You mentioned
So
the Thane. I'm sorry.
Oh, do that.
You mentioned the Thane had mentioned a priest who might know some things who was local.
Yeah.
What was his name again?
So Aaron Wolf is actually his manorial priest. So there's actually quite a few priests in Totburh, as you would expect in a larger city. So Aaron Wolf is the priest for the manor. There's a couple of other parish priests in the community. And then, of course, there's the monastery that's about 3 hours march away.
And you had mentioned Wittgund and Gudloff, is that right? You also might know some things?
Yeah, so let me go ahead and so Whitgar is a market reeve, and he has traveled to Cordwan numerous times, and so that's why the Thane suggested you might want to talk to him. Guthloff is a herder who has been in the Cymric lands and to Cordwan, even places further afield. And there was one other I know that he told you, as well as many other people just in the town. Ida is the parish priest. Svein, who is the leader of the Hearthweru, may have things to tell you about the various folks that went on the mission. See. Halfdeen is the parish priest, and so he also may have information, as he is he's been the parish priest for 30 years and has a lot of knowledge about folks in town.
Well, and who is our leader? Is it Tate who's our leader? Is it understood who our leader is?
Yeah, Tate is the leader as a member of the Thane's Hearthweru.
Tate, I do not know exactly what you'd like to do, but if you wish, I could go perhaps speak to Aaron Wolf and Hofdeen and ask them some information questions. Maybe they know something, or rumors. Perhaps the priests in Cordwan have let some things slip that might be helpful to us.
Absolutely. Any knowledge that we can find should help us.
And I hear they have very good beer. So I will, at your leave, Lord Tate, or are you, what is your title, Tate?
Captain?
Captain,
Yeah.
my captain. Captain Tate. I will go as soon as you say. If anyone wishes to come with me, I'm more than happy to have company.
Yeah, so the Thane does dismiss you. You are led out of the main hall. You are brought to the basically the edge of the manor house, where Wise Agnes, you can see that actually a pack horse is currently being prepared for you. You are not being told to leave town like immediately. As he said, he could, have you ask various folks around town about information, but you do see that those preparations are being made for you.
Okay, I will stop and talk to the people who are preparing the pack horse, and I will say that, knowing that I might be leaving town, there is a chest of herbs that I have prepared that is a bit heavy for me to carry. It is inside my cabin immediately to the right of the door, and if arrangements could be made for that to be added to the packing, that would be useful.
Oh, yes, Wise Agnes, I can do that for you. I will make sure that it happens. And he's kind of, he's rubbing the pack horse. It's obvious that, he may not be able to have any other jobs. So you're not entirely sure if he actually means what he said. You're not entirely sure he's understood. He's brushing the horse. He's bringing items out that the horse will need, that you'll bring with, but you're not entirely sure he heard you well.
Okay. I will look around. Is there someone who seems to be supervising him or working along with him? Because duplication.
So
of...
there are others around, and you can in fact ask them to. All of you can ask them to help with various things for preparations. So I mean, you're getting a lot of help whenever you ask.
So yeah, I'll just speak with someone else and make sure that happens.
Yeah. So there are people around that are willing to get all the different things you guys might need.
And then I will turn to the captain and say, by your leave, I would talk to the shepherd, because if there's one thing I know about shepherds, is they often have sick sheep. So he might be more willing to listen to a healer.
Brother Mueller, you had said you wanted to talk to Arnwolf. Did anybody besides Wise Agnes and Brother Mueller want to talk to specific people?
We're going to talk
I
to
will return to the band.
You want
I'll
to do
return to
what?
the band. Yes. Sorry.
You're fine.
You want to go to the where? I'm sorry, Crissi.
Oh, I can talk. I'm sorry. I thought I'd cut off tape. I just want to turn to the band and offer to escort anyone who wants to seek out a person to talk to.
Oh, sure. And then Brother Mueller to talk to Arnwolf.
And Brother Mueller will definitely take up Bjorn's offer for a guard.
Okay.
I will go with Brother Miller.
All right. So you guys are doing that?
Yes, and I shall ask Derwin to accompany me to see Spine the her through.
Yeah.
Super.
Fine. All right. Anybody else going to see anybody? Just want to make sure that everybody gets a chance. Okay. Well, so Brother Mueller, Tate, you guys are gonna go see Brother Arnwolf. So you go to our Father Arnwolf, I should say. He is one of Oswald's most trusted advisors, and he knows what you guys are about to go do. So he basically repeats a lot of what the Thane has already told you. And you are blessed in the eyes of the Lord. Jesus Christ will help you in your mission, and I will bless your party, but only under one condition. We need peace. And no matter what horrible things you find, we need peace with the Cymri. And even though the Thane is aware that perhaps his son has fallen to them, we need this peace. I will bless you if you promise to reconcile with the Cymri, with the Cordovan city.
I'll give you my promise.
Father, absolutely. Everything within our power to bring peace will, of course, be what we will do.
May the Lord watch over this mission to rescue the Thane's son, to bring peace to our city. May they be watched over and no harm come to them. Blessed be.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you for the blessing, Father.
I've traveled to Cordovan several times as a younger man. I spent a lot of time among them. Elsewhere in Gwent as well. And although the Cymri are very good, they are Christians who follow a slightly different path. I wish they would be less warlike and superstitious, but I found them to be a wonderful people, just very superstitious.
I see. And when you were there, where were the better places to sleep? Is there a nicer lodge or inn, perhaps?
I'm afraid it's been quite a while, though, since I did travel there. Perhaps the Inn of the Blasted Heath is still in existence. I don't know. It was quite a good brew there.
What time of year is it right now?
It's summer. It's like midsummer, quite hot and humid actually for this area.
The Blasted Heath, but good brew. Thank you, Father. That is very useful.
Almost time for Oktoberfest.
He he looks kind of like he has something else to tell you.
Father, just between men of the cloth, I say, as if Bjorn isn't actually standing there listening to everything we're saying. Is there anything that, and I say in Latin, you would like me to know?
Yes, so he speaks to you in Latin. And Osred, who is one of the Hearthwearers. So you all hear the word Osred during this conversation. That Osred was worried about the dark folk that he knew of to be in the forest, in Cymric forests. And Ernwall tells you he'd counseled him that the dark folk were just superstitious, or just superstitions, and that he should not worry about them overly much. I did give Osred a wooden cross to keep with him as a token of God watching over him.
Was Osred specific at all about the superstitious worries that he had about these dark folk who live in the forest?
He spoke of will-o'-the-wisps, just a legend, just a superstition.
Of course.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Oh, I was agreeing, yes. Of
Oh,
course, there's
yes.
superstition.
Dark, small little creatures that try to attract travelers into traps. And then they drive them insane.
How silly.
Their demonic influence.
But they are a mere superstition. They, of course, do not exist.
Yes, it's absolutely superstition. But it helped him that I gave him the token of God's will, the cross.
Okay. I see. You feel like that will help reinforce his belief in the face of these strange myths.
Yes.
I see.
So Tate went to go see Svein, who is the
8 and 9.
leader of the Hearthwearer. And Svein is very glad to see you, Tate. He's always felt that you were one of the most gifted of his Hearthwearer in your particular cohort.
Yeah, I would probably know, I guess, because of like my position, but
Yep.
I want to know who the other members of the Hearthroot that went on this mission with Oswin's son.
Some of the best men and women went. It was Lensing, Osred, Ingar, Ulfgar, Senrik, Tates, and Edwulf. And they all went, and Lensing, he's a good boy, but the Thane put him in charge of that mission, and he doesn't have the experience, and he's hot-headed. I worry about this mission and what he would do to make the peace process harder.
Yes, they seem like all strong men of the ways of iron, but are they any with a more fair tongue that would have went on this mission, other than Senrik or other than Lensing?
Well, Senrik, as you know, is quite the honeyed tongue, and Osred also. He even may be able to keep Lensing's hot temper at bay. They are good friends.
There were no like diplomats or anything that went with it.
No, it was entirely Hearthwearer.
Ooh. Okay.
All right. Did Derwin or Wise Agnes wish to do any other?
Well, I thought I was going with Tate, but
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. Derwin, you're going to Tate. Do you have anything else?
no.
I do have one more question, Shana. And that is, do we have a feeling, like, would I know how Lensing and the other Hearthwearer feel about peace with the Cymric?
Oh, you absolutely would. Most people, most of the Hearthwearer are extremely like at one with what the wishes of the Thane are, and so pretty much you all do want to have peace. Lensing and Ingar. Ingar was one of the Hearthwearer that went. He too can be pretty hot-headed, and his parents were killed by the Cymric army a while back. So Ingar as well has kind of a bone to pick with them. And Derwin?
Got nothing. Oh,
Got
no
it.
questions.
What do you know of this forest?
The forest is dangerous. It's filled with wolves. It's filled with bears. It's filled with other wild creatures. But do not believe what you hear. You yourself have been in the forest. There's nothing there. All those superstitions that you hear about. The Lord watches over us and keeps those demonic forces at bay. However, I will tell you, avoid the Eseweald. As you may know, that place is of the devil, is of Satan. The trees move. The darkness is ever present. And there is something there. Something lurks in the Eseweald that makes it filled with the spawns of Satan. You must avoid that part of the forest. Stay on the road, Tate.
Something deep within my heart assures me his words are true.
Absolutely. You could even roll for it's actually not psychology.
I don't even need to.
Yeah.
I don't even need to. So complete metagame out of character. It just so happens that the Dean Forest is the exact forest that the characters in the Pendragon game are in.
Oh, cool. Okay.
It's like literally the same place, just 500 years before now.
Oh, that's neat.
Since we're on
Okay.
a meta moment, when you said that, Shauna, I sort of shit my pants because my character's about to die in the same forest as you were.
On Tuesday.
I hate you.
So, is there anybody else you would like to talk to in town? Anything else you'd like to
A reminder, Wise Agnes was going to talk to the shepherd.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So Gutloff, the herder.
Yes.
So that herder roams between Totburh and Cordron, in places further afield, while tending to his flocks. He considers Cymri to be good neighbors. They've never bothered him. And he's dined with some of the charcoal burners that are deep in the forest as well. The charcoal burners, they were going to sacrifice him to some strange being, but he seemed to be able to escape whatever was going on there. So he tells you that the charcoal burners in the forest, they may be of some concern, but he didn't have a problem like avoiding the machinations they were doing to try to do something to him. He's not even sure what they were trying to do, but it seemed very suspicious, and he managed to escape.
Okay, what is a charcoal burner?
What is a charcoal burner?
I think it's literally like just like an incense burner that they put charcoal in, kind of like a smudge pot, and different,
so the
metaphysical.
smudge pots were misleading him. Okay.
Those damn smudge pots.
It's like this group that's out in the forest. It's basically this guy and his family and extended family, but
It prayed to some god.
God of smudge pots.
Yeah. God of smudge pots, yeah. So so there are evil spirits that lurk deep in the woods. So Wise Agnes tells you to avoid those. And he actually he mentions that there are will-o'-the-wisps in the forest. He says he believes that he has seen their light, but he's never followed them. He's never felt any kind of compulsion to follow them.
And have they misled any of your sheep?
I have lost sheep here and there. Yes. I don't know if it was the will-o'-the-wisps or if it was the charcoal burners coming out to take my sheep. I don't know. But some have disappeared, never to be seen again. And sometimes when I travel through my herds, I find ones that have been horribly disfigured and killed. They've had their eyes taken out. They've had their noses chopped off. They've had their claws pulled out. It's been terrible. Their nails torn out. It's been terrible.
Oh my! When has that most recently happened?
I had one disappear and then be found, as I'm describing, just 3 weeks ago.
3 weeks ago. And did you burn the body?
Of course I burned the body.
Of
It was
course.
disfigured.
Yes.
It was as though a demon had sprouted from the ground, placed that sheep in front of it, and then tore it asunder and sucked out its intestines. I had to burn it, wouldn't you?
Of course, you were very wise to do so. I'm glad that you have shown such wisdom. Yeah, such meat could provide any manner of contamination to other animals or to any human foolish enough to eat it. So, yes, burning it was absolutely the right thing to do.
Wise Agnes, you know what we need to do. You always know. Everyone knows that. Thank you.
I know because I listen and I learn. And I listen to everyone, not just those who are high in station, but everyone has a little bit of wisdom, and I listen, I collect them. And thank you for sharing your wisdom with me.
Thank you. And Wise Agnes, as you know, you are very highly regarded in the community for your potions, for your wisdom, and for your good naturedness, even in the face of all of the horrors that you see.
Now, could you tell me where you found this sheep most recently abused? Because I'm concerned. I want to make sure that our travels do not intersect with whatever might have done this.
Absolutely. So I was on the road. I was east of the Eseweald by about 2 miles, I would say. Okay. So I was just a little bit off the road, the main road, with my flock. And then, yes, it was on the side of the road toward the Eseweald. I followed a couple of my sheep to a spot. It was almost as though God had led them there. Angels had led them there. And there was this disfigured sheep. I would say that the Eseweald was only maybe a mile away.
Thank you. That is most helpful. And now I must travel, but please, when I return, I will check in. see how you're doing, see how your sheep are doing, see if you need anything.
Very good, Wise Agnes. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. So has everyone talked to everyone they would like to?
You had mentioned that there's a manorial church, a parish church, and I think a wooden church.
Yes.
Would it make sense? Does it seem like these people might know things that might also be helpful in addition to Aaron Wolf, or is it more likely there will be, for example, do they have beer?
I mean, Ida, the parish priest, he's quite, he actually is a teetotaler. You would not find beer with him. Helfdene,
Okay.
the parish priest, is, like I said, an older gentleman who's been the parish priest for 30 years. He, in fact, is known to be a brewer.
All right.
Yes.
Bjorn, I think we must visit the parish priest before we go. Valuable insights are to be had, I'm sure.
But we got the blessing of Father Aaronwolf. What else would we want of a priest?
Oh, we could get 2 blessings. 2 blessings are better than 1.
I can't argue with that.
All right. You guys, yeah, exactly. You guys head over to Helfdene. He is a kind of rotund man. He has a bald head, but he has a long flowing beard that he often can be seen to stroke as he's talking or as he's giving a sermon. And that seems to be like kind of what he does when he's anxious. But you head over to his parish. You meet with him inside his living quarters that are right there. And he's not stroking his beard at all. He's very calm, and he smiles when he sees you. And Brother Mueller, you actually do know Helfdene. I mean, of course, you know. He too likes to go to the what's your favorite inn here in Totburh?
The Red Goat.
The Red Goat Inn, yes. So you and Helfdene sometimes share a beer at the Red Goat. Is that what you said?
Yes.
I gotta write that down. Red Goat Inn. Okay.
So it is.
Now, of course, when you go to the Red Goat Inn, you often discuss how the ale is not as good as his own brew, but you know, it's nice to get out in public sometimes. So.
Hofdene, so good to see you again. Has it been like 3 hours? I gotta ask you some questions really quick. I'm sorry about. Oh, this is Bjorn. Bjorn is a guard, a very good guard. Have you met?
Very, my pleasure to meet you.
My pleasure as well.
We been asked by the Thane, you know, as things happen, his son is missing. We're gonna have to go through the woods. I had some questions. You know the dirt around here. Do you know? Well, first off, I'll just ask this. I know this is strange, but have you ever heard of a thing called dusky folk, dark folk, something like that? Like a will-o-wisp, you know, kind of crazy stuff in the woods.
That's silly, stupid superstition.
Okay.
Oh, Brother Mueller, brother, you know how these provincial folks, you know, of course, here you are in what's pretty big city, of course, but these provincial folks, they think that they see things in the forest. They think that they see things in the clouds. They think that they see things. There are no things except what God gives us from heaven. His angels, perhaps, are what they are seeing doing his work here on earth.
All right. Well, if not the strange city folklore stuff, what do you know about the group that went there last time? Anything that would help us? I mean, any rumors about where the sun might be? It's been 3 days.
It's been 2 weeks.
Week.
A week, sorry, 2 weeks.
I will tell you this. Fencing is perhaps a concern. Cynric is one of my flock. He is a Hearthweru, and he was sent on this ill-fated mission. And
Ill-fated, you say?
I feel it's ill-fated. It's been 2 weeks, and it's only 3 days march to Cordovan. But Cynric asked me to pray for his soul should he not return. And so I did. I did pray. And I prayed for them all. And I pray for them all still. I hope they will return.
So you fear the worst?
I fear the worst. Absolutely. The Cordovan have been encroaching upon our lands. The Norse have been coming closer and closer. We just saw a long ship along the river. There's much danger. Even a large contingent of wolves. Perhaps the mission was ended even that way.
Is Holstein stroking his beard or not?
Yes, he is.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense.
Absolutely.
I was like, he seems so relaxed, yet he has all these fears. Okay.
He has, yes, now that he's talking, thank you. Yeah, now that he's talking about the mission, he definitely is stroking.
I see. I'm just impressed by how many people here who can count to 3. I've never met so many people who knew math before. It's amazing. Well, I see. I don't suppose you have a little beer sitting around somewhere that we might have a drink before we go?
Well, brother, I believe I know the Thane would like you all to get ready. So he hands you 2 huge flagons that he has with ale in them. And he says, "This is for your successful mission. May God be with you."
I hand one to Bjorn. Oh, thank you. I go, look at Bjorn. The drink, is this to-go beer or is this like for here beer?
To-go beer.
This is to-go beer. Yeah.
Okay, to-go beer. All right. Well, thank you, brother. See, I told you, Bjorn. 2 blessings.
Yeah. You have huge.
And we basically just bid farewell to an old friend of yours, I see.
Yes, as you will. All right. Let's get back. Best to drink your beer before you get there. All right. We head from the, I guess what is it, the west wall where the parish or the wooden church is, back to the manorial center. Is that right?
So the manorial priest is actually in the middle. Where
Right. Is that where the wagon is?
The wagon is currently near the gate of the compound. Yes, they're preparing all that for you.
Right. We'll make our way back there. Unless, Bjorn, did you want to make any stops?
No, I'm ready to leave when our group is ready to leave. I am
Super.
My sole purpose is to protect the group.
You have been doing a great job. I have not been stabbed once. All right.
Let's wait till we get to the woods.
It sounds ominous.
Wait till we get the woods, then I'll stab you.
And I'll stab you.
Really? I'm always more worried about being stabbed in town, but okay.
Well, we'll change that.
Well, you haven't been in the woods very much.
This is true. In the woods, I fear biting.
Now, Shana,
Woods can be dangerous.
Yes. Yeah, wise Agnes. What can I do for you?
if she happens to see the merchant on the way back from talking to the shepherd, she'd like to have a brief word with the merchant.
Yeah.
But if not, that's fine. Okay.
No, you can actually you can head over to Whitgar, and because the market is not that far. He went to Cordovan and was not very impressed with what he saw. Those people, they're so uncivilized. They're willing to lie to get what they want. They were always too eager to reach for a blade when situations got tense. It just felt off. It just felt like they weren't very peaceful and they weren't willing to get along with those that they did not know well. They were abrasive. So, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yes,
You know what I mean?
yes,
They thought
exactly. Exactly.
They told me I was abrasive. They were.
How they could say such a thing.
Yeah, I don't know how they could say such a thing, but they were idiots.
Obviously. Now, were your travels safe? Were there any problems or concerns along the way? Because, you know, the route you take, you know, I'm impressed you do so well traveling for the most part alone.
So, I was actually attacked on the road.
Oh my.
By a large, sick-looking wolf. And,
Sick looking, you say?
and I fought it. I fought it and won.
What about it looked sick?
There was pus coming like out of its eyes, and there were like drips of saliva just like foaming out of the mouth. It was like really, really fat, like with these, like not fat, they were like tumors, like when the devil is in you and there's like a giant tumor, it's covered in that.
Yes, and where precisely did this happen?
It was only a few miles outside of Cordovan because obviously they don't take care of their lands the way we do.
Obviously. Yes. It's good to know. You weren't bitten or scratched by it in any way, were you?
No, I fought it. I fought it and won. No scratches. No
Very
scratches.
good, very good. I would worry such a thing would be infectious. And did you dispose of the body?
Oh, there's like a pause. It's almost like he's like switching his feet. It's like he's. He says, no, you know, I just decided to leave it there. I just left it there.
Probably safest, at least that way. Its dead body wouldn't scratch you inadvertently. I just hope that nothing came around and was infected by it. It's a potential danger to others, but you did the best you could.
So, I do not recall which skill in Dark Ages it is, but if you want to... Basically, it's insight, but it's not called insight.
Isn't it? There's an insight skill, literally.
Oh, is there an
There is
insight?
insight, yeah.
Okay, is there a die roller here, or should I just roll physical dice?
There's not a die roller. You have dice.
I have dice. And with a 99, I believe I have no insight whatsoever. That is a critical failure, I believe.
Not only do you believe Whitcar about his tale of the wolf, but internally you feel just a lot of respect for him. You know, even though he's kind of been like shouty and obviously negative, like you feel like really good about him all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a brave man who defended himself well. And honestly, some of the things Agnes has heard, this is not beyond the pale of what could be out there.
All right, so you are all ready to go, unless once again there's anybody else you would like to talk to.
Pian is waiting at the wagon that is ready and hasn't had all of his beer, so he just sipped a little bit, but left some for the rest of the group as well. I think it was like a big
It was
traveling
huge. Yeah, I mean,
pouch
like for the road,
Yeah.
like give you this huge flagon. Yeah. So
for the road. Yeah.
Is there like a pony keg on the cart at this point of beer? Brother Mueller will check. Just to be
yeah.
sure.
So Brother Mueller, they know your proclivities, and so you definitely have a large amount of beer with you. Yeah.
Excellent.
There's a barrel.
I see we're ready to leave. Excellent.
All right.
Somehow we have managed to fit some food onto the cart along with your
Yes.
beer, Brother Mueller.
It's a pretty big cart. It's a good pack horse. You've got a lot of supplies in there. So you also those of you that are stronger, you may also be carrying packs. I assume Brother Mueller, as a man of the cloth, you're probably not carrying anything.
Just this flagon of beer.
Just the flagon of beer. Yeah.
Right. Is the flagon? Is it pretty solid? Like, is it like a metal flagon or?
Yeah. I mean, we're talking like a big wooden flagon, like a big,
All right, Brother Mueller figures he can use this as a weapon in a pinch, so I'll just take this.
Absolutely, it could be.
Agnes will look over the cart, make sure that all the supplies that she expects to be there are there, and that she's familiarized herself with where to find things quickly in the case she needs to in an emergency.
Actually, looking at Wise Agnes, does Wise Agnes look like somebody who knows like the ways of the wood and the ancient lore?
Wise Agnes, wouldn't you say that's true? You do seem to be that kind of person.
People call her wise.
Hey,
In the
Wise
name.
Wise Agnes, Brother
I hate to
Mueller
be
takes
dumb,
aside,
Agnes.
whispered. Yes. Sorry. I just wanted to mention to you, I was speaking with Aaronwolf, Father Aaronwolf, and he says some crazy things, but maybe it means something to someone, maybe such as yourself. It said that their Osred, who was previously on the mission, was worried about the woods, that there were these dark folk and something like a willow isp, and that he was worried. Now, Father Aaronwolf says it's all crap, but I thought maybe, it's something behind it. You have any ideas?
Well, I would not gainsay the good father. I mean,
Just between you and me. It's okay.
Wise Agnes, why don't you go ahead and roll Natural World?
Sure. Do you have my sheet hand? I got a 64.
Let me check. I do have it here. Except that I have a lot of tabs open, unfortunately.
I should just get my sheet and get it ready, because I know I'm going to need it eventually.
I do have it. So Agnes, your natural world is 75. Yeah, so you actually agree. You do know that there are things. You don't know if you would call them will-o'-the-wisps. That's a very superstitious kind of thing. But you do know that in reality, there indeed are creatures that you have seen that are that carry these lanterns, and you're not sure. You know that is why people say they're will-o'-the-wisps, but you're not sure what manner of creature they are, but you're sure that they are a creature and not something from Satan.
Yes. What I will say is that there are lights that are seen in the woods that often mislead. As to the actual source of them, while people have said one thing or another, I have not encountered them personally and cannot speak to that. It is also worth noting, and I will trust you with this, and you may use your discretion upon who to share it with, but when I spoke to the shepherd, he mentioned finding one of his sheep with the eyes torn out and the innards ripped as if by some horrible creature. And he suggested that when I asked where he found it, he described a place 1 mile from the Eseweald, was it?
We're gonna say Eseweald.
Eseweald, yes. A
Yeah.
mile from the
We'll change
Eseweald.
the pronunciation every few minutes. Actually.
So
So
the idea that there may be something that is a danger to sheep and thus possibly a danger to us in that well-known dark forest is a concern to me.
But at this point, are we all back together, or just as good?
Yeah, I think you guys are all back together at this point.
I was just wondering if I was overhearing this conversation.
Feel free to overhear. She's
Okay.
merely only telling it to the priest because he asked,
Sure.
but she's also not hiding it from anyone.
Yes.
and Magnus would definitely call Bjorn his bodyguard over, like he considers his bodyguard. Bjorn, you should know about this. This is important.
Yeah, Bjorn looks a little bit worried by this tales. He's not very fond of the woods. And yeah,
No, you are not.
he's basically saying we should stick to the road, be safe. We have the Father's blessings, and if we stick to the road, we will be fine.
Yes, Derwin knows the ways of the wood, and unfortunately,
Derwin,
I
yes.
believe that this party that has been sent before us, that Lensing has led, is not one of diplomacy. They're quick to the blade, and there is no diplomat amongst them. So, Father Mueller, we may yet have to find our way with words rather than edges of the sword.
I don't understand. Weren't they sent on the mission for peace?
They were, but unfortunately, all the names of the men that have went, other than my fine Cymri, who one day will be my groom, shall only him and a few of the men are those of temperate heart. Both Lensing and Inger are quick to bleed those who would stand before them.
We, I think, are definitely on a mission for peace, but when it comes to icky, disgusting things in the forest, I say we beat the crap out of them if they come near us. Someone give me a cudgel. And he's looking around for something he can use as like a more abrasive than the spear mug. I used a cudgel in my youth. I'm good with one. Can I rustle up a cudgel?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is thick. This is a stick.
There are sticks over there.
There's a stick right there.
You may have a big stick. That is
All right.
absolutely fine with this keeper. Yes.
Thank you, wise Agnes. It was helpful. And Tate and Bjorn and Derwin, I feel much safer with all of you around and close. We should stick together and on the road, I think, is, as Bjorn has said, I think it is wise. Peace for the people, but kick ass for the creatures in the forest. Fuck them. Fuck them all. They destroy sheep and make people disappear. This is just, the wise Agnes is telling him that these things are real has really unnerved Agnes.
Perhaps we should prepare as to our roles on this trip, for as I am sure that while there is honey in the mead and in the beer that Father Mueller drinks, I'm afraid honey is not upon my tongue, only my blade. And is there one among us who speaks better than the other?
Well, I speak many languages and have been known to be somewhat persuasive, but I don't mean to say that I am more persuasive than anyone else. You are all a very charming group of people.
I don't have the tongue. I'm only here to protect. So that is my order that I've taken. And this is what I will do.
Well said.
I listen more than I speak. but
I am not a
sometimes
man of
that's
words.
useful.
All right.
Well, I'm happy to speak to whichever group we wish to speak with. I have some authority with the church and some reputation. If I can bring less bloodshed to this meeting, then I'm happy to.
I do think that you said something very wise, Father Mueller, in that we should stick together, because I think the greatest danger we will face will come if we are separated.
You will not see me wander very far from Bjorn this entire mission. I promise you. I would hope that we all, yes, wise Agnes, your name precedes you. Yes, stick close to
We
the
should
cart.
certainly stick together, stick to the card.
Yeah.
Do we have also lanterns, enough of lanterns fire, because it's a 3 days march and we're gonna go through the woods, and if we have to set up camp.
That's true. That's smart. We should bring extra. Do they use lamp oil, or how do they light their lamps here?
Say lamp oil. Sure. Yeah.
We should. Do we have a? Just take a look at the cart. Do we have a plentiful supply of oil?
You do. Really, just assume that basically everything that you would need and that you've asked for has been provided for you. So.
Magnus looks to see if like there might be enough lamp oil that I could start a small forest fire if I needed to.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
A small one.
A small one. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yes.
I look at Tate and just if we're ready, we should make way soon, so we get our day march done and make it in time to Cordwan.
Absolutely. And I think we should perhaps try to make up some of the time by the fact that we have a cart. We could perhaps drive the rest of the group a little farther than perhaps they would go on their own.
Is there actually room to ride in the cart?
No,
Okay.
this is a pack. So what you're gonna find as you
Crackers.
and you already know this just from being told what the journey is like. Right now you have a wonderful dirt road that's well packed, and that goes on for some time, pretty much all the way up to kind of the edges of the forest. As you get further and further into the forest, you've been told that you'll be left with a road that's almost not there. And so that's why you can't really have a carriage or a lot of cart, because there's just not a lot of road. But what they've given you would be okay. Like basically a pack horse and a smaller cart. So
Pretty much the entire thing of stay on the road is going to eventually not be a thing.
right.
Yeah. Yeah, got it.
And you've been told this, people obviously have traveled to Cordwan.
Yeah.
So
I would
Got it.
guess that Tate leads the way and Bjorn sticks more to the back of the group.
Yeah.
all
That's
right.
fine.
So as I said, the road leaving Totburh is pretty well packed and really nice.
So I would probably, just because we're talking about the security of the group and so forth, I would probably have a private word with Bjarn. Because Bjarn may not have fought alongside me before. And I would probably share with Bjarn quietly that my eyesight is not as sharp as my blade. And so,
I'll
When
be
it
your
wo-
eyes. I keep an eye out.
yes. So I will give her that warning. Not sharing why, of course.
So, why don't you guys spot hidden? You basically cross the river at this point, the river Severn.
I like how immediately after I tell her that.
Like, oh,
It was really a coincidence. It was.
I got a hard success. I would probably help lead the way once we get towards the actual forest.
Absolutely, you would. Yeah.
Somehow I got a critical success with that too.
Oh, that's
My eyes are at that shop. There's a squirrel 300 yards away.
when I have.
That'll be the last spy hidden check I make all game. I guarantee it.
And meanwhile, Bjarn, who just said he's going to be the eyes of the group, failed.
He's like,
the 94.
So with an extreme spot hidden success, Tate is able to see that there's been a large force of perhaps 20 men that have moved along the road recently. There's what you're seeing though is like there's torn clothes, punctured water skins, other cast-offs, and some of them are inscribed with Norse runes. So these all seem to be remnants of an advanced Viking war band that's moving through the area. So whether or not those folks pose a threat to you,
Don't worry about just Stark Young. Viking war bands.
yeah, exactly.
oh,
So
sure.
just know that you know you guys have seen evidence definitely of a Viking warband that's been kind of scouting around. As you go further and further into the forest, the trees are starting to block out most of the sunlight. Where it's thicker, the sun is barely even penetrating. It's rendering the forest in dusk, even at noon. It's cool, even though you know that you left it pretty hot and humid. There's unexpected gusts of wind that seem to flare up. And there's kind of a sweetly sick scent wafting upon the breeze. And this is getting more and more like this as you get further and further into the forest. You do actually come upon a camp. Not far from the road, as you're about, I'd say you've traveled a few hours at this point. So you're kind of halfway maybe through the forest. You see that the camp is in good condition. There are tracks for about 12 men. And with why don't you go ahead and do a spot hidden?
I got an extreme success.
Great.
Why, this camp seems as abandoned as the road. No one's been here for years.
Right. No one's been here for years. Exactly. So you see that there's like an intermingling of Anglo-Saxon and Cymric goods in this camp. There's no sign of the gold rings that that the Thane told you he had sent with the group from him. You do find that there's a finely wrought cloak clasp, and that can be found over under an overturned pot. Which who had the extreme? Derwin? Yeah, Derwin. So you're finding all sorts of stuff. There's tracks that leave the camp heading north in an orderly fashion. And they fan out the further they get from the camp.
So this doesn't appear to be the group that was sent before us. Or at least none of the valuables have been left behind.
You do find evidence that there were Hearthweru through some of the items that you're finding. So it does appear that this probably was partly the contingent that was sent out, and then they must have met up with some Cymri patrol, or perhaps a group from Cordwan.
So there's nobody in the camp. There are still tents up and everything. No signs of fight or anything it's just abandoned?
Yeah, so it's overturned. I mean, something has
Okay.
happened. There's no sign of fighting, but something did happen. It looks like people maybe moved quickly, like they were trying to escape something. And there's, like I said, so there's overturned like pots. There's a fire that looks like it had been let to burn out on its own.
Can we tell how long that has been? Like looking at a fire or something, how long that camp has been sitting there? How long is the fire out? When was it abandoned?
This actually seems like it was relatively recent, like in the last 2 or 3 days.
Okay. I tell that to the crew. So this camp had been set up a few days ago.
You hear Magnus go, "Really?" He calls up from behind a tree, since he assumed we're stopping for a piss break. He has no idea what's going on.
Derwin, why don't you go ahead and do, I don't know, is there survival or something? Like the Dark Ages skills are like slightly different.
Natural world.
Yeah, natural world's good.
I got an odd one. I got a critical success.
Actually, and I will admit this, I think I asked you to do the wrong roll and you still did. I think I should have asked you to do a track. But anyway, doesn't matter because you got not one. So
Either way.
You follow some tracks, Gerwin, and you find one of the Hearthwearers from the Thane.
I wouldn't even look at it yet. I would just go get tape.
Okay.
Like,
Sure.
I'll get somebody else's attention before I fuck with anything.
Okay. But he's not dead. You
Oh.
want
I leave him. He's a corpse. I stab now. Okay. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So the guy in front of you, the member of the Hearthwearer, he has a few superficial scratches and scrapes from what appears to be running through the forest. He has dried blood crusted around his eyes, nose, and mouth. So he has in one hand a wooden stick covered in symbols written in dried blood. The protective amulet that he received from Withron. You did not talk to Withron. Keep her boo-boo. Anyway, but in his other hand is a torn shred of cloth with gold thread woven through in a knotwork pattern.
And his eyes are gone?
No, he has eyes.
Oh, you said there was like dried blood around his eyes.
Yeah, dried blood. He hemorrhaged. But he still
understand.
has those eyes. And he looks up at you and he gurgles like it's impossible. And fungus bursts out of his neck. Like he's trying to talk. Basically, he splits open, saying and these spores just like come out. And yeah, please roll for sanity.
No. So I failed my sanity, so I need to fail my intelligence check. Oh, that's not going to be easy to do.
Well, that's only with about a madness, right? Or temporary insanity.
Oh, not a bougie.
But anyway, what'd you roll?
I failed. I rolled
Okay, so
70 out of 55.
so
Good.
you lose one sanity.
Only one? Cool. I'll take that.
Yeah. So,
No. Back to what I said. There's somebody over here. Bye. And Yeah, fuck that. I don't want nothing to do with a neck bursting
you do find
fungus.
some more tracks, Derwin. There are more tracks if you would like to take them.
I'll get everyone's attention to the neck bursting fungus first.
Yeah.
And then we'll determine whether we follow the tracks.
Agnes will come over, take one look at the man, and say, he is beyond my ability to heal.
I gathered that when the fungus burst from his neck.
Oh, that happened just as you were here?
Oh, yeah.
Did anybody get on you?
No.
No, nothing got on him.
Even if it did, the answer was no.
So I would immediately run that direction, kind of recklessly in a way.
Yes.
Magger will run the other direction, kind of recklessly.
And the first question that I would want is, who is it?
Gar.
You said Ulfgar?
Ingar.
Ingar.
One of the ones that you had been told was
Okay.
kind of violent.
Interesting. Okay.
Did he communicate anything before he passed?
I think that was a question for Derwin.
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention. What?
Did he communicate anything before he passed?
It sounded like he was trying to say something. But,
Right.
As you guys are there talking, and these, this man is practically dead, but one last kind of, and then more spores fly out.
I'm being honest, Shana. You said it 12 times. I still didn't get what.
Is he saying Burga?
Hookah.
Hookah.
Yep. Would have never got that.
That's what I heard.
Does Puka mean anything to any of us?
Puka is another superstition, basically, of small, dark creatures that Wise Agnes kind of knows about being in existence. But that's up to her what she believes they are. So there's other tracks if you kind of moving away from this body.
How far away are you from the camp, actually? Because I think I kind of try to stay with the card at the camp and Brother Miller.
Not very far. Probably only less than 1/10 of a mile away.
Oh, a mile.
Where you found Ingar.
Oh,
All of you, you're a little bit far away now. Perhaps you should come back to the cart. Says Brian Mueller from the cart.
So also, so not only are the tracks near the body, there are also, which are adult tracks, there are also child-sized footprints kind of scattered about Ingar's body. And they appear for 5 or 6 steps and then disappear, only to pick up later. These child steps kind of, they seem like they're milling about or maybe dancing. And Derwin, you notice that there is a few bits of ash on the ground.
I'll just kind of pick some of it up and look at it.
It does appear to be like normal ash, like from a torch or.
Appears some sort of thing is happening here.
I think we're going to be late if we stay any longer.
What is it you found?
Some more ashes, some ashes and small footprints this way.
Is it one of our men?
Don't think so. They're small footprints.
No, I mean the person you encountered.
Oh, the guy with the throat bursting fungus?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, that's Ingar. He was also one of the hot-headed Hearthrew.
So this is the camp. This is the camp of the group we're looking for. Lansing's group.
Oh. So
And
is
this
there
is-
any sign of the Thane's son?
No, there's no bodies except for the one that you just found.
I think I will walk over to the group now, as I've learned that they found someone who belonged to that group. Can I look at the body? You said they
But
had
the
some.
cart is over here. The road is here. The road is there, and you are going over there.
Our mission was to retrieve Lansing, Tane's son,
All right, all
and
right.
this group leads to him. So
I
you
will,
said,
I will go with my guard. I will go.
yeah.
I leave the cart.
So my
You
question
said
is,
the person
oh, I'm sorry.
Inger had like some kind of piece of cloth in his hand, like a golden
Yes.
cloth.
And a stick.
Can I
with
look
all
at that?
kinds of,
Does
like,
it is it distinct? Does it look like some noble cloth from a robe or anything that could belong
It
to
looks like this was
Lansing's clothing?
Yeah, it was it was not Lansing's clothing. This doesn't look like something that any of the Hearthweru would have worn during a mission. They would have worn their uniforms. This is, like I said, this is gold thread woven through in a knotwork pattern, and it appears to have been torn. There's like a hem, okay? So it appears like it was like torn off of a cloak or something like that.
Yeah.
So it would be common practice for, like, let's say that if Ingar was actually headed back to Totburh to maybe give a message of what had happened to the rest of the party or something like that, he would probably be carrying an item or something that would have belonged noticeably to, like, Lansing, perhaps, or something like that. Does he have anything like that on him?
I hate to interrupt, but I need to use the restroom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Actually, I mean, with it being 7:40 and he needs to pee, do you want to all just come back at like
Sure.
7:46
That's fine.
or whatever? So,
Yeah.
Cool. Great question, Crissi / Bjarn. Actually, in Dark Ages, when you see kind of normal death, even so, the spores were weird, but as far as like a friend dying or like it's in the Dark Ages, things are so violent and so unexpected, or what's the word? Less safe. I guess that's what.
So the person we're seeing, it doesn't look super weird. It's for us. It's just like they were attacked. So if we didn't see the spores come out of that person, we're fine.
Exactly.
That's
As far as,
correct.
like, oh, that's my best friend Ingar, and you'd be like, that sucks, but I'm not going insane.
Yeah.
Like,
If you pass your sanity roll, there's a chance that you might be like, oh, look at those mushrooms. They look delicious. I don't know if you saw the chat, but before you guys get all 100% back, Rain and Crissi, please send me a note to the email address there. I'd love to send you a player pack and also just kind of connect so we can get you into future sessions as well.
what's a player pack? I don't think I ever got
It's
one.
a shirt and some stickers, and then usually, so we get like some freebies. So you may get a book, you might get a leather journal. That's what Thor got when he joined. Random stuff, dice. I don't know. It's definitely a shirt and a sticker. It could be a can of soup if I'm running
Well, I
late.
already got this shirt.
And
Oh.
I
a
got
can
stickers.
of soup.
I sent the Knights Black Agents team. I sent them some garlic. I sent them some garlic salt to help us in our vampire. Whatever. But yeah, seriously, send me an email. I'd love to indoctrinate you there.
Thanks.
And we do ship internationally. Are you actually in Germany, Crissi?
I'm not.
You're not.
I'm in New York.
New York. Awesome. What part?
Upstate
I didn't know
New
you were in
York.
Europe. I thought you were in Europe.
That's amazing.
Why did I think
Nope.
you were in Europe?
That's why you asked about, it's Eastern Standard Time. I was like, yes, I know.
I don't
awesome.
know. Why do I think you're from Europe? Just
Because I'm from Germany,
That's
but
awesome.
I'm currently not in Europe.
Got you. Okay.
You were correct. It is 3d6 times 5.
Nice.
Welcome back, Tyler.
I'd do a little tattoo care.
Y'all
Sorry.
good? Oh, did you get a new tattoo?
Oh yeah.
Yes, you did.
What is it?
Close to the camera.
Tyler, you
was
gotta
gonna say, what
screen
is it?
share. Just screen share, Tyler.
Oh, yeah.
Screen share, it'll make it large.
So freaking cool.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Like
I'll not do that, but oh well.
7 hours.
You catching
Yeah.
up, man.
7 hours.
We agreed next time we see each other, it's a Myth Brigade tattoo, right?
Dude, I'm doing
I'm
I'll do
down.
it.
I'm down.
it.
When are we doing this shit?
Not Monday.
I'm
On Monday. I can't do Monday. I am on vacation in July, though.
I am not. But I could be.
On a Monday in July. How about that?
Maybe with a little future planning. Yes.
All right. Well, let me just kind of,
Yeah, I'll send you a picture on Facebook, Jason. You can get a look at
for
it.
sure. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Okay, so you guys, last that we saw, you guys had found the body of Ingar, one of the Hearthweru. Tate knew who it was. I assume that she told the rest of you guys. And most of you did not witness the spores coming out until the second time when he gave his last gasp and said puka, or maybe puka.
And for anybody who hasn't rolled for luck, you need to roll for your luck score.
Yeah, so 3d5
3d6.
or 3d5. I didn't know there
3d5.
was a 3d5.
Oh wow,
Could
that's gonna go well. 25 luck.
What?
Yeah.
All
There's a reason you survive in the woods.
that
well
well spent luck.
Well spent luck.
So, I'll only say it one more time because I don't like to railroad people. But if you'd like to know something else, there are tracks right by the body.
Okay, one
We're-
thing before we follow the tracks, because I mean, Agnes is an herbalist, and there is a strange fungus coming out of this guy's mouth.
Yeah.
So, can she figure out anything about it, and/or take a very, very careful sample and put it in a glass stopper, glass vial?
Yeah, absolutely.
Despite the fact that he was hot-headed, he was a fun guy.
Go ahead. He was a fun guy.
There's not mushroom in his throat.
Tyler, that. Anyway, so back. Hold on.
Wait, are you saying we should follow the tracks into the woods instead of going back to the trail where the cart is and on a mission? I mean, look, I'm a theologian here, right? There's a story of Job, and the lesson, short lesson from Job, don't be a ne'er-do-well who tries to challenge God with all sorts of do-goody shit. Just stick to your role, and then he won't be cursed the shit out of you, okay? Let's go back to the trail and back to the cart. This is
Yes.
what God wants.
Brother Mueller, but we are to retrieve sin. We're to retrieve Lansing. If Lansing is in the woods, being on the road will not help us in our mission.
That is true. That is true, Tate. You're absolutely right. But as you said, we do not know if he's in the woods. You are simply guessing.
But here's the camp. Here's the camp of the Hearthweru that were with Lansing. They've traveled out like 2 weeks ago. It's only a 3 days march. This camp is barely a few days old, so they must have traveled back. And something happened here.
Are you sure that they would not have? Like, is there any sign of the Thane's son here?
Yes, these
There's
tracks.
not, but
These tracks.
What tracks? I see some raccoon things in the ground, but
I
what's
don't see
this?
the,
This
I
these
don't
are
see the
way too
tracks
small.
either. I don't see the tracks either, but I am sure that
See,
Derwin.
the problem isn't the tracks; it's your perception that is the problem.
Well, it's true. I really don't belong in the woods. Another good reason to go back to the cart. But all right.
But perchance these tracks lead to his son. We should follow them.
So you
we
see
have to
human.
assume.
You see human tracks leading off into the woods somewhere here.
Yes.
How many? One?
One.
If that one is Lansing, then we need to know.
We have to be sure it isn't that.
And the one person you have met along these tracks, you said exploded out of fungus.
No, fungus exploded out of him.
Thank you. Good correction.
Of the difference.
I would say that this is probably a Lord's warning. I mean, we were blessed. He has warned us. This man has died to warn us not to go this way. But if you insist, I cannot do anything else because I will die out here without you. So fine. What are we doing?
We have to assume Lansing the Hathwaru, and if this is a chance that we find Lansing out there, we can't just leave him there.
Unless we assumed he went back on the path towards the town, but I guess
We
he
came
wouldn't
from
see
that direction. He would have
No,
run right in our arms. Why would he run the other direction?
Well, I
Up
thought maybe
to
he went
Cordon.
on back to the other town with the inn
To Cordon?
and the beer. But okay, maybe I'm mistaken. You are much more foresty than me.
Perhaps with a few more drinks of your mug, you shall find the courage to go forth.
But you see, Tay, that's the problem. My keg is on the cart, and I cannot possibly carry it. Very well. Maybe we can make this fast, right? I mean, what time of day is it anyway? Christ. It looks like it's already nighttime, doesn't it?
It does look like it's already nighttime. However, you know that it's about 11 a.m.
Well, we catch the noontime sun through the dark forest for an hour or two, and then we could head back. That sounds reasonable?
They'll allow that?
All right.
While
we'll
we
use-
were discussing that, what does Agnes figure out about the fungus?
Good. Yeah, I was about to get back to that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You
So
told me.
I just wanted to make sure. So you actually can tell that this is not a fungus that you are familiar with, which is quite odd. But it does remind you of mushroom or of fungus spores that are hallucinogenic. Just in how they appear floating around his neck, basically.
Okay. Be very careful not to inhale or allow your skin to be in any way brought in contact with the fungus. Especially do not eat the fungus. I believe that anyone who is affected before they die may suffer from possibly extreme hallucinogenic effects.
Wise Agnes, are you familiar with this fungus?
I am not. It resembles hallucinogenic funguses that I'm familiar with, but is distinctly different. And I would say that I know nearly every fungus that is available in this part of the world. So that's a real surprise to me.
Ooh, may I name the fungus then, since it's the first time we have discovered it?
I suppose.
I can give you a couple options. There's Chaosium rompens fungus, which means throat bursting fungus in Latin. Or then there's get et erusium de fungus, which means get the fuck out fungus. Which would you prefer?
I really could not say. What is your judgment?
What if
I
you
would-
get,
I would
get the fuck
definitely
out of my
say-
throat
Hey,
fungus?
Derwin, yeah, Derwin has a name for it.
What is the name, Derwin?
I said it's get the fuck out of your throat fungus.
Oh, that sounds good.
So bless us with that, Father Mula. The exact name of this. new
Yeah, one more
fungus.
time.
That would be het in orumum manum tuum igluum fungus. If they get the fuck out of your throat fungus. I think that, this is an apt name. You are clearly a man of the forest. This makes sense. Now, can we go down this little invisible trail, get the fuck down there and get the fuck out? I'm already thirsty. And I have to pee again.
One moment longer while I put this sample in this vial.
Nah, you
and
can deal
then
with that
we can
fungus.
head
I'm
on.
going this way. you can have that fungus all to yourself.
I'll catch up.
So I know that we are on a mission of peace, but I feel at this point that there is some sort of threat. And so I will actually draw my sword as we head down this path. Because while Tate is willing to show deference to peace, she is also not stupid.
Tate, since you are
Yes.
drawing your sword, I will point out that if someone is infected with this fungus and it goes throughout your body, if you
Yep.
puncture their body, the fungus may burst out of the puncture in your direction. So
or just your
be
throat.
careful.
And so I will take that as an opportunity to sheathe my sword and pull out my spear. Because that will at least keep some distance between me and the person infected with get the fuck out of your throat fungus.
And yeah, once she has the sample, Agnes is going to actually string her bow because, you don't leave those things strung. But if there is something with fungus in it, she wants to be as far away as possible.
Shana, you had mentioned that there's a rather ornate stick, like cudgel, with all these runes on it. Is it near the body that exploded, or is it a little bit farther away?
It was in his hand.
It was in his hand. Yeah.
That's a very lovely cudgel, which I will not touch. Let's go.
This trip is much more sporing than I thought it was going to be.
Whoa.
We may need to
I won't
burn the
take that first.
bodies,
All right, we
But
need to put a
first-
cap on these puns.
but first we need to make sure that there are no further infected people further down this trail. And second, we need to make sure that the fire does not that the fungus does not react badly to flame, because if flame causes it to spore more greatly, then fire would be contraindicated.
You see, Tate, that's not sporing. That's really fungus.
That's good.
It's a tremendously fun. Gus.
It's fungus.
All right,
Fun
we go
of-
now. It's getting dark, or darker, whatever the hell this place is.
Darkest.
All right. So
Very well.
Where do you go next?
Wherever
Following
Derwin
the
leads us,
tracks.
because he's the only one that can see it.
You got it. So about a half mile from the camp, you do find deeper into the woods is another body in a gully. This one seems to belong to a Cymric warrior. He's dressed in the garb of the uniform of a Cymric warrior, and there are superficial scratches that you see on his hands. Also, he has no shoes on, strangely, and there are some superficial scratches on the feet. Most interesting about this body is the head has appeared to be brutally hacked off. And so the head is actually missing. And you do see just the top of basically a neck with a pile of blood, a pool of blood right near it.
Any fungus?
There is no fungus. No.
All right. Magnus gestures towards the pool of blood. All right. Now, do you all agree we should leave? Look at this. This man has no head. Is the head
There's a
anywhere around?
Cymric.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Crissi. Sorry. What were you saying?
What does a Cymric fighter do near the camp of our Hearthwearer?
You had before seen in that camp that there had been a mixture of Anglo-Saxon and Cymric uniforms. So
They camp together?
yes. Looks
Was
like
a mission of peace.
yeah, this is where they met, it appears, for that mission of peace.
Any sign of the gold singlets or bracelets that were supposed to be peace offering?
Those are missing, but you do find a cloak clasp underneath an overturned pot.
Oh, that was the last one, though, wasn't it?
Well, so basically, right near the camp was Ingar's body, and then about a half mile away from Ingar, in a gully, was this Cordovan soldier's body. I thought you guys had returned to camp to get to like your cart and stuff like that. So,
We bring the cart this way?
Well, can we bring the cart with us?
yeah, you can do whatever you would like. I may have misunderstood what your next action was. Just
I
let me
did.
know what you guys
I
are
didn't
doing.
understand that the terrain was good enough to bring the cart this way.
Yeah, you need
Into
Oh, yeah.
to where the camp is, yes. To where the body is in the gully, no, you can't bring.
Okay, all right.
So I think we all went after Derwin to the body in the gully, following the tracks.
Yes.
Yes, that's what I understood as well.
But there's no sign of anything else from the. It's just the body with no head and a pile of blood.
Correct. Yep. And then the superficial wounds from like falling into the gully.
You said a Cymric male. I'll look at his hands and stuff like that. Does he look to be like a warrior?
Yeah, this was definitely. Now, why these two cities decided to send warriors to do a peace thing, that's beyond me. But apparently, that's how it's done in the Dark Ages. So.
I mean, it is. It is.
Is there any indication?
Can we tell from the blood? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Can we tell from the blood how long this body has been there, or how long it was decapitated?
Yeah, the pool of blood. There is actually, just because there's like kind of a depression in the ground, it's actually still wet.
So it's recently.
Places, so probably just like a couple days.
Is the head ripped off or chopped off?
It looks like it was brutally hacked off. Yeah, like chopped. Yeah.
Well, I've seen axe strikes before, and I've seen sword strikes before. Axe strikes would tend to elude maybe Vikings. Can I tell, like, perhaps what weapon was used?
No, it was done with such brutality and strength and whatever. It's just you can't tell.
Yes, it would take quite. I mean, despite what we see in the movies nowadays, it would take
Right.
quite a bit of energy and effort to actually hack a man's head off.
Someone did put a lot of effort in.
Magnus will look away from the body a little bit. Like if it was hit really hard, he'll look to see if the head flew off and is over somewhere behind the body.
You don't see the head anywhere nearby.
Hey, tell me, do any groups around here take heads?
The Vikings could as a statement,
Well,
especially if these Cymric warriors were someone of importance.
Is the guy like wearing jewelry or anything that makes him look important?
No.
They would take that. If he
So somebody took this guy's head. He seems like a regular sort of person.
One moment. Why is Agnes? Sorry, because it's hard with no video. I apologize.
Oh,
That's okay.
sorry, Rain.
I did have two questions. One, the head removal, does it look like it was done in a single stroke or multiple?
Multiple.
And two, is there any blood trail, drips, anything leading away from the body that might indicate where the head was taken? Because heads leak.
No, interestingly.
Could something have eaten the head? Perhaps. Is there anything around
A
here that
man's
eats
head.
heads?
I'm sorry. What, Byron?
Father Mueller, what beer are you drinking? What could eat a man's head? Even a bear would
Well,
not do such
As
things.
wise Agnes has pointed out, there's no trail of blood. So how do you get the head away from a body without leaving some blood? I mean, there's no fire. There's nothing.
Perhaps they put it in their bag.
You seem to have a lot of experience with this. Okay, good. So would that leave some sort of mark? Something we can follow?
No, it wouldn't. But perhaps there are other tracks. Derwin, son of Sleen, bless us with your eyes.
Anything else? I got a hard success.
Okay, so
Looking around.
yeah, so I'm assuming you're kind of back at camp though, kind of looking. Are you at the head? Are you at the
Yeah.
headless body still?
Mm-hmm.
You do see once again these like child tracks, kind of weaving in and out of the gully. What's strange is like if you like kind of climb up the gully, it's almost like they just kept walking. Also what you see is the footprints of what appears to be an adult male with shoes on. The shoe size it would indicate it's probably a man.
I found more footprints.
Would it be possible to tell anything about like the boots or the footprints? Like, would Viking boots be made the same as like Cymric boots or like our own?
These tracks do not look like warrior boots at all, and they don't appear to be anything you would think of as Norse tracks. In fact,
Would they be barefoot?
no, they're not barefoot. Like
Okay.
it's boots, but it appears like there may even Derwin can tell because he's an excellent tracker.
Right.
Derwin is seeing that possibly there's even like a hole in one of the boots, because of just the way the depression is in the ground. So this definitely doesn't appear to be someone with like a lot of money or in like big metal armored boots or anything like that.
So, wise Agnes said the Polka are little dark folk, and they're little footprints. And there's all this scratching on his boots, the guy without the head. Is the scratching on the lower part of his boots and stuff, does that look like wear and tear you get like walking through the forest?
He's barefoot.
Oh, he's barefoot.
Yeah.
Well, you said he had scratches, I thought you said around
On his feet, on his hands, like from being maybe dragged into the gully.
Oh, okay. So he's okay.
Something took his shoes.
Now these small footprints, your eye is better for this than mine, Durgan. Can you tell? Can you make out toes? Can you tell if they are naked or shod? Are these the footprints of a human child up to your scene?
Yes, Derwin, you see that they're human.
Yes.
That's so odd. Why would a child be here, and why do the prints not show a continuous line? It's nothing we can track. It only is at the sites of the deaths. So
is it just one child or is there several?
From what I see, it appears to be multiple.
So there's a bunch of kids in the woods screwing around with warriors, killing them.
You said the kids were killing them.
Well, I mean, the only people walking away are the kids. There are no other tracks coming in here except for the dead guy and the kids walking away. If someone else killed him, someone else would have to come here and they'd have to leave a track unless it was a large, maybe bird.
Durgan said something about booted tracks.
Yeah, Derwin.
Yes.
The tracks that Derwin saw are quite obviously a different size foot than the.
So
There are multiple tracks.
Oh.
There are child tracks, and there are booted tracks.
So Derwin, you have done well in finding these tracks. Your eyes are definitely blessed. Can you tell Were the tracks made at the same time? Or are these children perhaps dancing around these bodies that are already here?
Oh, that they're at a similar time.
Okay.
Like
And
they are,
these booted tracks you found, did they lead to here or away from here, or both?
poor Derwin. It's both.
Well, so
Only he knew.
with boots.
Well, we should see if the booted person is still alive. So
yeah.
far,
Does the booted track go the same place as the little tracks, or two separate?
The little tracks are weird. The little tracks don't seem to have any purpose. Like they'll go for like a line for a few feet and then seem to disappear. And
Okay, I think you're right, Wise Agnes. I think if we really want to test God's will, we'll follow the booted tracks.
I will follow your lead when it comes to God's will.
Oh, well, that's probably going back to the keg, but I guess we're going to go a little further.
So the Cymrics were very suspicious and very superstitious. Would the Cymric male's body have any signs that he was trying to do anything superstitious for like his own protection or anything? Was he scared of something?
honestly, it is a scratched up corpse.
Okay, so nothing we can
Does it look
determine.
like it's been fed on by like wild animals and stuff?
Yeah, there's some chewing here and there on a few, like a couple of the extremities.
Okay, I see where you're going with that, Derwin. Like maybe the animals would leave him alone.
Mm-hmm.
That was your thinking.
And clearly he was scared since he lost his head. All right.
Yeah. He's
Let's
just
follow the booted
miles ahead
tracks.
of us.
Yeah, he's ahead up on us.
Mm.
Well, let's find the booted person if he's still here or his body, because I don't want to spend more time in these woods than we have to
Amen.
find out what we need to know.
Well, we will follow the booted footprints away.
All right. So
You want to track?
yeah.
My dice are on fire. Hard success.
Perfect. Yeah, so you're able to pretty easily lead the rest of your companions with these tracks. They go for some distance, about a mile.
Or
So
about 2
after
miles.
you have traveled for a good 20-ish minutes together, you actually come to more of a path. The tracks Derwin follows actually leads to a cottage.
That's not weird.
And there is actually a couple little cottages kind of in a circle around a middle clearing. And you go in to this clearing and you see some folks that are just doing their daily chores. It's much sunnier here. There aren't trees that are blocking out the light as much. It looks like maybe they've been actually taken down in order to create this clearing and to build the houses all around. So a large man with actually his ears are pierced. He has blonde hair, appears kind of Norse, and he actually waves strangers so far out into the forest. We're not used to seeing that. I am Omag. And who are you?
Tate, should I say something?
Probably not.
Okay.
We are emissaries of the Thane Oswin of Totburh. Who might I have the pleasure of addressing?
I am Omag, and my wife, Taleri, and my daughter, Ada, we would love to welcome you for a meal, perhaps? Why are you so far from civilization? Is
Search
there
for those that are lost to us.
lost to you? Well, it is a very dangerous forest. I don't know why they would come this far anyway.
Perhaps they have not. But we hope that we shall find them. Perhaps you have seen others.
No, you are the first. In quite some time. In months.
And I make a just looking around. I mean, beyond just like heads on a spike, are there any signs of religion here? Like, do I see any crosses or?
No. You do actually see some symbology of kind of more pagan stuff, and you know from your research that a lot of the religion in these parts does seem to have a mix with some of the kind of more Celtic elements in the area, the more pagan stuff.
Can I make religion rolls for like see if I think any of these people are worshiping anything I think are maybe like the dangerous like head taking religions?
Yeah, absolutely.
I rolled a 3, and my religion is 75, so that's a critical success.
You know, when you look around and see, you know, some of the decor of the cottages, you notice there's actually some signage. Obviously, this is a kind of not literate village, but there's like, it's almost like there's symbols that are showing what each building is. And the lettering reminds you of some of the darker things that you have learned from the oral traditions that you have encountered in the monasteries in this part of the world. So you definitely are seeing that this is not a Christian village in the sense of what you find to be the true faith. These are, and in fact, you're worried that these are folks following dark forces.
Agnes, do you speak Latin? Do you seem like a Latin speaker?
Latin? I'm afraid I'm not gifted with that tongue.
Okay, no one else speaks Latin. Non sumus in Kansas, ultra. I'll. Are we close to them, or are we out of earshot of them? Can I whisper to my cohort?
Omag is there, kind of waiting for you to like say something. Basically, you know, he just invited you to have a meal with him. But
What a lovely village this is! It is beautiful. What do you call this hamlet?
Omag's village.
Omag's village. Have I ever heard of Omag's village? Or any
It's
of us?
my village. I call it Omag's village.
Oh, okay. I thought you were Olmat. Oh, okay. Olmat's village. Okay. Well, it's certainly lovely. I look at Tate like, are you gonna stab this guy, or are we like gonna stay here for dinner? What's gonna happen?
No,
I'm
actually,
a little suspicious here. I feel like Bjarn would have stayed a step back behind Tate, but has ready his shield and grabbed his spear a little bit tighter as this man approached.
well, he has offered us hospitality.
And as he also said, like, there weren't people in month, and they haven't heard anything. There was just like 20 minutes from here, like a big camp of two different factions, and apparently a fight. So I didn't trust that they wouldn't have known anything. Also, there were like tracks leading here to this village, so I'm a little bit suspicious here. And I will ask him, have you not heard anything in the last days in the woods out of this direction?
Sometimes we hear animals that come close that are not what you would call normal animal sounds. But no, people, we have not heard any.
Not a
I-
fight or anything.
No, we have not seen any other folk for, what did it, 3 months? Perhaps?
Do I trust him on that? Can I check him on
Yeah, roll for insight.
his honesty?
Can I roll as well?
Yeah, sure. Whoever's listening.
Also, like his hospitality, is he really welcoming, or?
Hard success, 37 out of 75.
For me, it's regular success.
You have a really bad feeling. His brother Mueller, you in particular, feel like the offer of hospitality has something more sinister behind it. And then Bjarn, my dog's being fed right now. Bjarn, you feel that he is lying. You're not quite sure, but
I also remember that Father Ernwolf told us about dark folks living in the woods. So would we know which kind of settling there would be in the forest, or would we assume that might be the dark folks we should stay away from?
so the dark folks that Agnes has talked about, and like these were little bitty, like not adult human, like the little.
I think Father Ernwolf told Brother Miller and me something about some dark folk living in the woods.
Where, yes, those were supernatural. I look over Bjorn's shield over the side, saying well behind him, just to be safe. Yes, I think you're right. There were some dark folks. And this is a lovely village, Hamlet, Omat. Lovely, but too bad we can't stay. We've got a mission to take care of. We better move on, right, Tate?
Yes, we must get back to the cart.
Yes, I think Derwin's correct.
Well, Lansing didn't appear to have come through here.
Good point.
Fear not.
Yeah. Do you refuse his
Um,
hospitality?
Phew.
It's a kind gift, your hospitality. However, we have people who we are looking for, as we have said, who are lost and potentially in danger. Might we postpone that kind gift and return once our people are safe? Because you know how it
Yeah.
is to look after your people, and we must indeed look after ours as you do after yours.
What she said.
Listen, you have come to Amog's village. I have offered my hospitality, and now you refuse it? Be gone! Be gone! Be gone!
Well, you heard the man.
And I don't want you to bring more of your ilk to my village. We don't need your kind around here.
What does
Is he armed?
Nope, he is not armed.
I apologize for giving offense, and I'm ready to leave because he told us to leave.
Yeah,
and I
let's
wanted to
go.
leave.
Okay. You head away at some distance from this clearing, from these cottages.
As we walk away, I would look back towards Omag, and I would just kind of rest my hand upon the hilt of my sword. And
Make sure
kind of
nobody's following.
give him some sort of intimidating glare.
Yeah, he actually is watching you as well. And when you do that,
I got a critical success on intimidate.
Critical success on intimidate.
Yeah,
Then
14 out of.
yeah, so while you're doing that, so yeah, he had been looking at you as though, he was about to shrug off your intimidation, but he actually kind of starts back, and then he turns his head like this, and you almost see like he's saying something, but you don't see anyone around, and then he turns away. He basically you won the bro off, and
Can
he turns.
I make an insight to maybe determine what he might have been trying to do with that?
I think he's talking to the little dark people.
I got no clue.
No, I tell you, Tate. I tell you, I saw dark symbols all over their place. They worship a dark religion. I think he's talking to the little dark people.
I don't think this is a fault we should.
I think
Be
we should
around.
be going.
I think we should
agree.
go in quickly.
For once we agree upon something.
Ultimately, this place is concerning, but we have no evidence that the ones we're looking for are here.
Correct.
So,
It's true, but what if the Thane's son is somehow trapped in one of their little hamlets?
Then we will come back this way and check it out. At some of
Then God shall point us again in this direction. Is that not true, Father Miola?
This sounds very true to me. I agree.
But it'd seem at now he points us to the mead.
Pardon?
I said it would seem right now that he points us to the mead.
Yes, the mead indeed.
Okay. So, yeah, so you totally intimidated Omag. He turns around and you guys head away from his little village, and head back into what is a very dusk-filled forest. And you just, the further that you go, it becomes darker, and you start to hear animal sounds that even wise Agnes can't quite place. You smell very moss, like the very thick moss is all around you, and you can smell that kind of undergrowth everywhere. And Magnus is watching for little. Okay.
Yeah, I'm staying in the middle, like trying to always keep Bjorn on one side of me and maybe Jordan the other side of me. And I'm like, just every once in a while, I'm like looking under branches, looking under things, just looking for low profile.
Does it look like the way we came here, or?
You actually, so you at first you headed back to the camp, which was the encampment where the warriors had met up, because that was the closest place to the road. And then you were continuing toward Cordovan on the road.
okay, we're back to our cart. I had not been clear on that. Thank you.
Correct. You're back to the cart.
Oh,
Yep.
wow, we got back to the card. Thank the Lord. I tap the keg and pour a beer.
Of course you do.
Agnes will look over the cart carefully, look at the tracks, make sure the cart hasn't been tampered with in our absence, and then have beer.
Yeah, very, very good. You check over everything. It doesn't appear anything has been touched. Nothing's been moved that you can tell. So
At the camp, we don't see anything else of signs where people could have gone that were there in the camp.
no, honestly, there's tracks of
The only tracks where we already went.
yeah. I mean, and there are other tracks, but they kind of all seem to be around the encampment. Like there doesn't seem to be any other tracks besides the ones you followed earlier.
So does
I'm
it?
still wondering why we see those, like Durin, you said there were child tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Why would they bring children to this assembly?
I have no idea why people do things with their children.
But didn't Wise Agnes say the Puka were little people? Little dark people?
But aren't puka just fairy tales made up?
I said that the tales say that about
These
Puka.
tracks would
I've
say
never seen
otherwise.
one personally.
These tracks might indicate otherwise.
I mean, it's not like there's a little group of kindergartners running around.
And in the camps or in the tents or anything, are there from like all the people, like what were it 12 people from our
Yeah, that's a
city
great
that went
question.
there? Do we see their backpacks or anything that they brought, their gear? Is it
Yeah.
left there?
Mhm, it's
Or
all been
does it
left.
seem like
Yeah, it's all been left. I mean, it's not as though there are a few things turned over. It does seem like there was some kind of struggle, but nothing that destroyed the camp. And you do see, basically, what you see is several tents that appear to be related to Totburh, the Hearthweru, and then on the other side, basically, kind of in a circle around a clearing, not a clearing, but a place in the center where they had like a fire and everything. There's then Cymric. Goodness, my dogs. There's Cymric tents on that side.
So put this together. We have an encampment of the two sides. We have one of our people. We have one of their people who ran into the woods and lost his head. And from there are tracks from Olmac's village or hamlet that lead to that spot. So maybe that's where they ran into them. And Olmac was pretty clear. He's like, get the fuck out of my woods. You're not welcome here. I think this is all very consistent. Basically, they camped to the wrong spot. Something screwed with them. One of them ran away, got killed by one of the hamlet people, and the same thing will happen to us if we don't get the hell out of here.
but where did the other people go?
There are no tracks, and there are no bodies.
Not everything has an explanation. I think that we have learned what we can here, short of violence, and I don't think that violence is warranted yet.
Correct.
So perhaps we proceed on and mark this as a place to investigate if we find nothing further.
So Tate would probably try to find a quiet moment amongst herself, even though she doesn't outwardly show a lot of religion or emotion. She would kind of find an on-off spot by herself and would kneel and push her sword into the dirt, and she would kind of scrounge up some of the earth and put it in her mouth and eat it, and kind of cut her hand slightly and hold on to the braid of Cynric's hair and just pray that she would find him again and that they shall walk amongst the fields of flowers, and that as long as she lives and draws breath, that she will not eat a proper meal until they are reunited.
What the fuck?
Is that when Derwin is watching?
And as she walks back to the group, probably a lone tear still streaks down her cheek.
And Magnus, realizing he is a religious man, will say a few words for the dead. And we also, I guess we should report these bodies, or we should bury them ourselves. This is not Christian to leave them on the ground like that.
Where's Agnes? Didn't you say we should burn the body that was infected with the fungus you found?
Let us make a test, expose a tiny amount of the fungus first to the flame, and if the fire consumes it without product, then yes, absolutely burn it. If
What
not,
do you mean it couldn't be
bury
worse
it
than
deep.
the fire making it better?
Yeah. That's called a
What could go wrong?
California, man. That's what it's called. It's called California when that shit happens.
So what happens if we set the fungus on fire?
What?
Just a small
happens?
sample.
A very small sample. It does. It's fine. The flames consume it. There is no. There's nothing that comes out of the flames. There's no.
Okay, then we're going to very carefully burn the fungus-infested body in a way that's not going to set the entire forest on fire.
Okay. Yeah, so you want to go back to it's like less than a tenth of a mile from the camp. You go there and the body is gone.
Okay, let's get moving.
Well, I guess someone took care of it.
You do see wolf tracks now, and you
Oh,
do.
cool. Now it's in the wolves.
This was very, very recent. Like while you were gone, there's very, very, very fresh tracks, and it looks like the body was dragged away by teeth and whatever. So
Oh, it's the forest now. Which is not our concern.
We should make haste and not follow these tracks.
Well, if the
This
brave
may be a
warrior is
threat in
saying
the
we should
long
not do it.
term.
Sorry?
This may be a threat in the long term, but it is not our mission. We should report this, and perhaps a party will be sent to this forest to clear it of all sorts of problems.
And hopefully not us.
I am a busy man now.
so
Captain, what do you suggest?
I like your idea of GTFO. I think that's a proper opinion.
Magnus, hearing all of your words, realizes his prayers have been answered. He stands by the card.
While I am not one to drink the mead or the Kool-Aid, I will definitely. I believe that there's no more to be gathered by staying here.
We travel forth.
all right, yeah. So you head away from the camp. You head further down the road, which is increasingly becoming just kind of a track through the forest, and you suddenly hear. Go ahead and do a listen roll, guys.
Listen.
It sounds like your last hope's leaving. I'm gonna spend 3 to get a regular success.
Regular success.
Yeah.
Okay. You hear the singing of what sounds like a kind of a wavering voice, perhaps of an old woman.
I thought you were gonna say a small child, and I was gonna like, really?
Let's get the fuck out.
On a hard success,
like-
do I get something more?
You can tell the direction. You can tell that it's she must be pretty close by.
Is it in the woods or is it
It's
far
off
down the road?
off the beaten path. To your left, and it does appear that the source of the singing is pretty close.
I don't understand. Why is everyone looking around?
There's a woman singing in the woods.
What? No, there isn't. What?
There is a woman off the path.
I look where Bjorn's looking.
Sure, go ahead and spot hidden.
Failed again. No, Bjorn, there's no one there.
She may know something.
Okay.
Ooh.
We have a mission. We have to ask.
So yeah, so you actually see, those of you that pass that, there's actually what appears to be a very small, like, lean-to up against a very large tree. And as you're kind of seeing that, from behind the very large tree is an incredibly old woman. She looks ancient. She looks like she is, this is the Dark Ages. So she looks like she's in her 50s or her 60s.
She's in her 20s.
And she's wearing what basically tatters. She's covered. It's kind of this stained. It may have been a white robe at some point, but it's just covered in dirt. And she's got incredibly thin gray hair that straggles like down her shoulders and her back. And she comes from behind the tree singing and then looks. Hello? Hello?
Hello, ma'am.
Hello. Have
Hello,
My-
good woman.
visit?
My name is Agnes, and you are.
My name is Yerwin. I live here in the forest because Cordwin is afraid of me. They say I'm a witch. Are you going to say I'm a witch?
Well, are you a witch?
Am I a witch?
I'm gonna take a step back.
No, she is not a witch, Derwin. She just said people called her a witch. No one says some people call me something, that's what they are. Clearly, she's a nice lady living in the woods.
I am a nice lady living in the woods.
No.
Tell me, sweet woman, would you like a beer? I offer her a beer.
I don't want your filthy alcohol.
Oh,
What?
sorry. I apologize. Step back behind Yarn.
I apologize for
Give
him, ma'am.
me. Give me things. I'm hungry.
Oh, certainly we have some food we can share. And Agnes will go and retrieve some food that she thinks is going to be easy to chew, or, gum, since she's not convinced
Easy
the
to
woman has all her
chew.
teeth.
Don't give her your beef jerky, is what
We
you're
got
saying.
we got a little bit of pudding back here.
Have you tried oatmeal?
Thank you. Thank you. And she's literally like putting this food into her mouth as though she hasn't eaten in days.
She's putting this food in.
Now, ma'am,
You don't have to be
have you encountered
jealous.
have you encountered anyone else recently within the last few weeks?
Oh, I have. I've seen many things.
Ah.
I've seen many things. I know you, and she points to Brother Mueller. You're gonna be quite interested, Mr. Poem Man. Once crowned in green, graced by the light of heaven, the mighty earth rents as the skyborn seeks a new home. By what wanders cold moist desire? Long taker stalks the traveler, delivering his prize to the heart. The warmth bearers keep the fire at bay and feed the guard of ring eternal. Feed the guard of the ring eternal. I know many things. Didn't I just tell you?
She speaks in
you're
riddles.
so wise.
Clearly, very wise. Yes. I shrink behind Yarn while I drink my beer.
Yes, but we're looking for the lost son of our Lord.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
the Lord above, but the local Lord. The Thane.
Wanders cold moist desires.
Wanderers,
wanderers.
cold, worst desire.
Those wanderers. Yes? Yes?
Maybe?
Moist desires, like want to drink?
Of beer?
No. No, you don't understand, do you? Do you?
No, we really
No.
do not.
No, we don't.
Not a clue.
Well, to be honest, I failed theological poetry my first year, so I apologize.
Theological poetry.
You know the Skyborn seek a new home.
Yeah.
Skyborn?
Like birds seeking a new place to make their nests in the trees.
Birds, you are fools.
Pity us that we are fools. Please give us your great wisdom. Help us. Take pity upon us, for we know not. Speak to us as you would unto children.
To the children, yes, that's what the cold, moist desire will find. The children will find you. Yes.
Great. The children will find us, the cold, moist desires.
The ring is eternal. The ring is eternal.
Is there anything?
Perhaps we should be good.
Is there anything we can do to protect ourselves against the Skyborn or the children? You've stayed out here a long time and kept yourself safe. What can we do to keep ourselves safe?
Beware the lights. Beware the lights. That's all. That's all. Beware the lights.
If we should see the lights, how do we keep them away?
How do you keep them away?
You said beware the lights.
Don't follow them.
Okay.
Don't follow the will of the wisp. Classic wisdom.
And this
I
circle,
can't wait to follow the way.
are we in the circle now?
Oh, the circle is in the place of great evil.
I point over towards the direction of the hamlet. Would the circle of great evil be in that direction?
Yes.
Would there be a person named Olmat who lives in the circle?
Oh my. Yeah. He's nothing. He's just a servant.
Of a servant of?
The circle? Russian.
Or the little people?
Skyborn found a new home here in these woods. I keep them safe. I keep the woods safe. And Corduan thinks that I'm a witch.
Well, clearly Corduan is a fool. How do you keep the woods safe?
I sing.
Oh. So music.
Is it a special song that keeps the woods safe?
No, I sing whatever comes into my head. Sometimes lullabies, sometimes psalms, sometimes I don't even know what I'm singing.
Like
She's not of right mind.
Mm,
Should we really listen to her?
well, very few of the best people really are in the right mind. It's almost like Daniel's in the lion's den. She's learned to live with the beasts, in this case, the lions of the forest, and does so through song. I think we could take a page from her book. I mean, look, she's lived here for years, and she seems relatively healthy. Would you like some bread?
I love that bread. It is very good.
Hand her some more bread.
Thank you.
So there's an evil worse than Olmat who serves the Sky Lord. That's a circle. That's in the direction of that hamlet over there.
Yes.
How do you know when you're near the circle? Is there something you can see or smell?
Don't go there. That would be mad. That would be desecration.
You hear that, Bjorn? That would be mad. All right, well, tell Bjorn then. Well, so how do you know when you're in the proximity of the evil? Is there like a big, dark group of like smoky, shady, shadowy people, perhaps?
She seems very confused now. She's kind of looking at you like,
Oh, forget, that was a rumor from town. Oh, clearly that's wrong. Everyone says it. All right. So how do you know about the Circle of Evil? What makes it evil?
the Skyborn are evil.
Oh, the Skyborn. Okay, so describe the Skyborn. Have you ever seen or heard one?
I hear them all the time.
Well, that's not good. What do they sound like?
They sound different depending on which one it is.
Ooh, how many are there?
There are multitudes, and nobody believes me.
There are multitudes of sky people who bring a circle of evil towards Olmat's hamlet, and Olmat serves them.
Omag serves just one, the one in the evil circle, the Ring of Eternal.
How do you know it's a ring?
I dream of it.
Oh. Interesting.
This doesn't really aid our mission. We are looking for Lansing.
Is it
And
possible?
this woman can't tell us anything if she's seen a group coming through here.
Well, that's a good question. Do you know if any of the group that came through recently might have gotten sucked up by the Sky People or the Circle of Evil or Olmat or Olmeg?
Yes, they all were. Except a few. And they didn't escape either.
How do you know this?
You
Sorry.
I dream!
How many were there in your dream? Were there this many or this many?
There were many. There were many. There were some dressed like you, and she points to Tate.
It's pretty good.
You are telling that the Hearthweru went to the village of Omag.
No. They were in their camp, and they were speaking of good times, and they were sharing good stories. And then the evil came. Yes, I saw it in my dreams.
They never made it to Cordon. We have to go back. We have to find them.
Well, let's not be too hasty now. Did the evil come from the sky or from the ground, or where did the evil come from?
That depends on when you mean.
When they were in the camp telling the good stories.
The eternal ring is in the ground. You fool! I'm tired of you! And she literally turns on her heel and heads to her lean-to, and she goes into her lean-to, and this is truly a lean-to. This is, so you can actually see like her sitting there with her arms crossed like around her like this, and she's rocking back and forth, and that's all you see.
She's insane. We can't trust any of what she said. She has no idea what's happening.
Well,
Even those of insaneness speak in truth unbeknownst to them.
It's true. I mean, those touched by God often speak in the strangest of ways, and she did recognize Tate as one of the ones dressed as the ones who were attacked and disappeared.
And she knows about the camp they set up.
Yes. There's no way she could have done that damage to them. So she knows, and she's, I mean, at least as far as I'm concerned, could not be the guilty party here. Well, something must be very wrong, though, because we still have more bread, and she's left us to go sit in there and rock back and forth.
I've seen similar behaviors in those touched by madness. She's been overstimulated, and this is how she calms herself.
Have you said the fungus, the spores you found, are like that they make you hallucinate? They make you have visions. Could she have
It's
been
true.
affected by these spores?
You know, now that you mentioned
Possible.
that, Bjorn and Agnes, I know a little of nature, and I recall that there are the little fairy rings, right? They're mushrooms that grow out in a circle. The mushrooms came out of the mouth of the man that Derwin found, and she said that the circle of evil touched them, and it's always in the ground. What if this thing is actually some sort of fungus?
Mushrooms are fungus.
Well said.
What is this skyborn she was talking about?
Well, that's interesting. She said it was in the ground always, but she did call it the Skyborn. She said the Skyborn were looking for a new place. And then Olmag worships or serves one of them, just one. And there's a multitude of them.
But is she talking about birds?
Well, I asked her if they were birds, and she said no. She said I was a fool. And she wasn't wrong about that. I mean, I know my way around town, but in these woods, I might as well be. I don't know anything. But I asked her if it was a bird, and she said, no, you're an idiot. So clearly it's not a bird. We asked if it lives in trees, and she's like, what kind of ridiculous fool are you? This was a theme for a while.
Obviously, there is something going on here that is beyond our knowledge.
I agree.
Also, we have no lead of Lansing except for the camp and her dreams.
So perhaps if they were in the camp and they were telling stories of glory and good times, then we should retreat
If
to the
we-
camp ourselves, along with Brother Mueller's beer, and drink and speak of the stories of our ancestors.
And that
and
they will
our
come and attack
glories.
us. And at
And-
that point, we attack them.
We could see a way, perhaps not necessarily attacking, which I know sounds very.
There was a
Good
group
point.
of
No.
11 Pathveru that have been surprised at camp, and also Cymri warriors. They were ambushed by something. And you think the two of us, who are the only one with fighting experience, we can take on
You're right.
whatever.
I think that Lensing and Ingor may have responded with violence, and perhaps our tempered souls, on the honor of our Lord Oswin, our Thane Oswin, will be more tempered to this conversation.
Conversation with whom?
That is what we must find.
Well- Sorry?
I've seen you wanted to say something, so.
Well, I like Tate's thought about peace. I mean, I agree with that. But at the same time, I think Bjorn's right. I don't think you can kill whatever this is with a pointy piece of metal. But per wise Agnes's ingenious investigation, how do you stop a fungus? I pick up a giant skin of oil. You burn it. If we sit in a circle and make merry, but keep fire about us in these oil skins, should a fungus attempt to attack us, we could light it on fire perhaps and burn it up. Something that these souls did not think of. Or perhaps put a ring of oil around the camp, and if something should attack us that's made of fungus, light it at that moment so as to perhaps keep it at bay. That is what I would do. I mean, it seems a reasonable thing as anything. I only say this too because there's no way we're getting out of these woods before dusk, I don't think.
Well, quite elaborate in its design, I do believe that your idea has merit.
I'm shocked and pleasantly surprised.
One thing I would suggest, if we are going to be spending any time in these woods, this mad woman believes that she has kept herself safe by singing. And I do not know if that works, but it seems like something that might be worth a try.
I agree. That is wise. So, oil, songs of our ancestors, as Tate has suggested, and Wise Agnes. And if things come in peace and there's no problem, then there's no fire. If there's a problem, then we light this motherfucker up.
So eloquently said, Dan.
Well, I did ask at the beginning, do we have enough oil to start a small forest fire? And the answer was yes. So, Providence provides.
I like it. I think if we prepare some sort of defense and we ask them to come to us, then we can control we can fight them on our terms.
I mean, speaking
We
of
do have to set up camp, but do we really want to set up camp where the other group was ambushed if they have crossed some evil ring of some kind?
Well, we know that they are akin to that area. What better place to find them than their own? What confidence in your enemy can be your greatest weapon against them?
we need to speak with them anyway, because we need to get back A, the armbands if possible, and B, the bodies, so that we can return them to the rightful peoples, and thus maybe still bring peace to this area. The disappearance of all these high-ranking individuals is sure to start a shitstorm between these two settlements. So I think it's a good idea to see if we can't reason with this Skyborn. But to be honest with you, though, Bjorn, it's true. If I could get my ass out of this forest before dusk, I would. But as I don't think I can, I think this is the best secondary situation, if that makes sense.
So that's a fair question. Could we get our asses out of the forest before the sun sets?
Of course not.
But what
I'm
would we
asking
gain
Shana.
by that? What would we gain by that, though?
Well, I would live.
Well,
I would be alive.
You would live as nothing more than a shameful mark in your Thane's existence.
I'm not suggesting that we leave and abandon the mission, but it seems to me that if we're going to be sleeping someplace safe is better than sleeping someplace dangerous.
Who is sleeping? Who is sleeping? I'm about to be like, yo, Wise Agnes, what you got that's got like caffeine and cocoa leaf and cocaine and all that shit I need.
I also will admit I feel safer when the light of day is high and I can see what is coming.
I think you would feel safer when Tate is high and ignoring all pain and injury.
Yeah, so it sounds like a plan.
Yeah. One other thing we could possibly do, if you have axes, is that I don't think fungus likes light. So if we were to cut down some trees in the circle where we sit so that the sun can shine, that also might be helpful if it's still daytime when the thing approaches.
So I just want to say that's not a possibility because we're talking about. I mean, you're in deep, like
Yeah.
you're in growth. What's the word? Sorry, you were talking some really huge trees here.
Yeah, plus I don't think Tate and Derwin would allow anyone to chop down trees.
Yeah, no.
I don't think we have anything to chop them down. I think Tate has like a sword. I just have a spear.
Yeah.
I have a spear and that's it.
And
And a bow.
I'm
No-
sure
no
amongst
nuclear
the
missiles.
multiple goods we have at least one decent axe, but you know,
probably not a tree chopping axe though.
probably not a tree chopping axe.
Even with the
More
five
like a
of us,
hatchet, maybe.
like, we're not chopping down one of
Yeah.
these trees.
Yeah.
I do think that making a good-sized fire wherever we camp
Yeah.
is a
So
good
where-
idea.
Yep.
Where do we set up camp?
Have we
think we
seen
camp-
any place
we camp
large
when they
enough to
were at.
camp other than the place where they camped?
I think we camp where they were at.
Well, if
I don't
we're
know.
trying to set up a trap, I believe we should set it up where they were already at. Like Tate said, they're
Tate.
comfortable there.
trap.
Tate
slash
gives the
firelight.
orders.
Sorry.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tate gives orders, yeah.
So you guys head back, because you never, I mean, even when you were following all these tracks, you know, basically that encampment where they met was actually pretty central to getting to Cordwan as well as getting to Totburh. So
Yeah.
that's a good place to be anyway. So you guys get back there. I assume you clean up a little bit, get a big fire started back where there had been one before. And
Yeah, we're gonna ring like the whole area
Okay.
with like some oil. We're gonna get like some tinder and stuff like that and kind of set it in bunches so that we could kind of, if we wanted to, we could surround where we're at with fire.
I'll take one of my arrows and leave it in oil, and I'll stay by the fire to light it. Shoot the ring.
Magnus will serve refreshments to everyone as they work.
sure.
Yeah, and then we'll do like that 13th warrior thing where everybody sleeps in their armor with their swords.
Oh, and Magnus will take one of the things to make the circle of oil around the encampment like about 20 feet out, if I can.
Okay.
And I'll always have a lit torch. And like a light, my thing is if things go badly, I'll light the ring of fire. What could
And
go wrong?
Agnes will make sure that stimulating teas are available for whoever is on watch so that they don't fall asleep.
Perfect.
I will stay on all watches and I will drink the stimulating teas regardless of whether I need them or not.
Magnus will also move the combustible items like dried leaves and things and sticks. He'll move them out of the circle so that when we light the circle, it doesn't burn the inside of the circle.
This sounds like a plan.
It does. It
I
actually
think
sounds
one-
like I think we got a solid plan here.
One
Okay.
preparation that Bjarn would want to do is like take some piece of cloth. I don't know if there's something on the card or if I have to rip some of my clothes. So I could wrap something around my face. We were talking about spores
Yeah, I like
and not
it.
breathing them
That's a
in.
good idea.
I think everyone should prepare for such.
Magnus has no idea why you did that, but he'll copy.
Yeah. yeah. Tate is all down for that. And
Well thought.
yeah, well thought. And I will collect like whatever berries or anything like that around the surrounding area and make like some paint and kind of pray to the gods.
See, we're in the Dark Ages and we can still wear masks.
Whoa,
Come on,
whoa,
guys.
whoa.
Right.
Like, come on. Come on.
I was just thinking that.
It only makes sense. Wear a mask to protect yourself and those around you.
So
It's
you
a
guys-
fact, dude.
Like, come on,
Why
guys.
did
We're
we-
doing it in the Dark Ages. You can do it too.
I don't know what's worse, the fact that it makes sense in this scenario, whether you in fact factor in COVID or not, or whether or not like factor in COVID. Like, do we think that way now, or is it just a side effect of the game? Like,
Yes.
Yeah, let's, yes.
We're trying to survive a Call of Cthulhu game. What could go wrong?
great.
All right. So that's our
You
trap.
guys have a great plan. So you guys have your plan, and you, yeah, Tara actually told me to stop like commenting on like how great you are.
No,
But
it's,
anyway.
Here's another question.
it's
What
just funny
phase
because
is
I
the
know it's going to
moon
go
in?
down horribly in another like 30 minutes. Everything's going to be absolute fucking garbage. You're like, it's a great plan. Too bad it ain't going to fucking work. But
What phase is the moon?
What
Oh.
phase is the moon?
I like it. What a great
It's-
question.
It's a new moon.
It's about rebirth.
Darn.
Jason said that's what I showed up for.
Where are you guys reading this? Are you on the chat?
Chat.
Yeah,
The
there's
chat.
that.
Oh,
From the
this
Zoom.
chat.
On the Zoom, if you click the
Zoom
chat.
Okay.
Zoom chat.
I mean, I've been looking back and forth with the stream chat every once in a while.
All right.
So you've got this plan. It is.
Yeah. That
Um,
sounded a lot like our plan was worthless. I'm just saying.
no.
No.
So Kate and Bjarn partake of some of Wise Agnes's teas. They're able to stay awake. the rest of you, how do you go about going to sleep? So
I'm not. I think that tea's a great idea.
okay, you also have those teas. How about you, Wise Agnes and Brother Mueller?
Agnes, you want to take turns?
Yes. Would you rather go first or second?
I will defer to you, whichever you prefer. My only thing is, I want this torch to be lit at all times. So if I fall asleep, could you make sure this stays lit?
I'll make sure it stays lit while I'm on watch.
Fair enough.
I think it will be easier for me to sleep first without the effect of stimulants, and then I can use the stimulants to keep myself for the latter half of the night.
All right, so I'm up first. I'll switch off halfway through with Wise Agnes.
Okay, perfect. So, the night passes pretty uneventfully. Teat and Yarn and Derwin, you guys do hear animals that sound not quite like your normal wolves or bears, or they just seem like they're louder and in the wrong kind of pitch, if that makes any sense. So instead of like a wolf going, oh,
I look at Tate. I start singing. I start
you
home.
start singing when you hear
Home
these.
is where I want to be. I start singing.
Okay.
I don't know, Tate. Are you singing?
I am, but probably singing some sort of song of our ancestors, a battle song.
All right. Sorry to interrupt.
Wise Agnes, while those folks are awake, you have a dream.
I have a dream.
And in your dream, Wilmina tells you, don't look at the light. Don't ever look at the light. And then you see her with her head on a stake as her life had ended a long time ago. And her head on the stake says, don't look at the light. Don't look at the light.
I think we should look at the light.
And you don't wake up from that dream. It's just a dream that you have that you will recall when you are awakened by Brother Mueller for your turn.
Okay.
All right. So now it is Brother Mueller's turn to sleep. Wise Agnes is awake.
And before Brother Mueller goes to sleep, I will tell everyone I had a dream where someone who I lost a long time ago told me, don't look at the light. I normally don't place much stock in dreams, but these are strange woods. This is a strange place, and I wanted to share that information with all of you. Regard it or not as you will.
Just as you say those words, suddenly, are you still awake, Brother Magnus?
Oh, Brother Mueller? Yeah, I guess I'm still awake.
Magnus Mueller. Yeah. So she tells you guys that, and all of a sudden, on every side of the camp, you see a torchlight about 20 feet out.
Home is where I want to be.
Could everyone please roll a power roll?
Oh yeah.
Power.
Power roll.
Wow.
No.
Wow. Oh wow.
Yes, hards.
Sorry,
Yes,
what
hard success.
what were we rolling?
Power.
Wow.
Pow.
I can't possibly spend enough luck to make it.
I'll spend it up to make
It
a
was
regular
actually an opposed
success.
power roll.
Oh,
I-
It was an opposed power roll,
I-
and you got an extreme success.
I rolled a 95.
I got a hard success.
cool. I failed.
Yeah. So the whatever it is did just get an extreme success. I rolled
Ah.
so you are all, hold on, let me read it. You feel compelled to follow the light wherever
Yeah.
it might lead.
I'm following that light. It's a great idea.
This is the way. It will show us the way to Fenric.
Show us how to find him.
So you are all compelled. You are all. We'll see.
This is how we TPK.
All of the lights.
What a great light! That's amazing.
Dude, look at my light.
So there is torch lights, and all of you, as one, seem to follow these lights without any kind of control over your bodies. You don't even really feel the passage of time as you're looking at these lights, and your body is pretty much moving towards them. You go deeper and deeper into the forest. There is absolutely no light with the new moon and the old growth, and you can see maybe 1 or 2 stars through the canopy. You keep walking and walking and walking.
Do I feel happy or?
You it's almost like you're in a trance.
I'm so happy I took this tea so I could stay awake for this whole thing.
Yeah. And you enter, so basically what is happening is you end up in the Eseweald.
Well, here's a question.
Yeah.
Are we able to do anything else as long as we are also following the light?
No, you're
Just
kind of-
checking.
Yeah.
You ain't doing shit.
Keep him in the light. Keep him in the light.
Yeah, you're currently not in any control of your bodies. You're
Okay.
not able to.
What kind of fucked up tea did she give me?
So you do end up with these lights taking you through the Eseweald, or however I decided to pronounce
Right
it.
where we were told not to go.
Where you were
Got
told not to go.
Got it.
You can hear around you, even though you're no longer in a trance when you enter the Eseweald. What you find happens is behind you and to the sides, the trees move. Roll for sanity.
Roll for sanity. All right. Let's see.
I failed that one again.
And a fail on my part.
Sanity? Is that okay?
If those of you that lost sanity, that roll failed, go ahead and lose 1.
Success.
And so, as I said, the trees are kind of like moving. And so now that you have your faculties back, there are 2 things that you see. One, you see that finally a puka. There are creatures that you have been following that hold a torch up. They're about 2 feet high. They look as though they had been, they were dolls that were like molded out of the earth. They're wearing kind of these just brown shirts, basically, like just a tunic. And when they see that you are looking at one of them under the torchlight, you can see that they smile with teeth, and it's just unusually big. Just this smile on this face that looks like it was made out of mud. It's very jarring to have this kind of like clay-like body and then these sharp teeth that you can see. So you're continually led. You're led forward by these trees, basically. Every time you turn around, there seems to be growth or a tree trunk literally right behind you. And so they're herding you, and you end up at a grove. And there's a large ring of toadstools in the center. Suddenly, The sky is full of stars. It's a clearing. And you see a bubbling spring off to one side. There are several men, both Anglo-Saxon and Cymric, hanging from the trees with chains around their wrists. Some are moaning, some are dead, and several have been rent asunder with their entrails hanging loose, spines intertwined with their organs, while fungi sprouts from their orifices.
Sorry, I was
The men who are not already dead see that you have entered the clearing and beg for you to kill them. Other older corpses litter the ground, strewn amid the trees throughout the clearing. Within the toadstool ring are 4 men who appear to be sleeping, one of whom is Oswin's son Lensing. There is another man that you don't recognize. He dances maniacally, as if possessed, around the ring. He's past exhaustion, obviously, but something is driving him on. The carcass of a massive bear rests on the far side of the mushroom ring. Fungi and other plants sprout from various openings in the carcass, including from its rotted scalp, which is nothing but exposed bone. Could all of you roll for sanity, please?
I cannot make a sanity check at all. I failed again.
Okay.
100.
Oh, who succeeded their sanity check? Okay.
Agnes?
Bjarn and Wise Agnes, roll 1d6. I saw that, Tate. All right.
Oh, I rolled a 6.
Okay, go ahead and roll int.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's actually an 8. So I succeed that. Great.
Unfortunately, you understand the terrifying meaning of what you are seeing.
I do.
And you now are compelled to dance with the man who
That's
is
times when they make
Absolutely.
dance around the ring. And then, Wise Agnes, you only lost 3. Okay, you're fine.
it. That's what happens when they made it.
Fine. Quotation marks
Fine.
around fine.
Fine. Everything is fine.
Those of you who did not pass your sanity, you need to roll 1d10.
Oh, hell yeah.
Ooh, 10.
10. I can't make it up. 10.
Okay. And then Byron, I did see that you
Yeah, you roll 100 though. You're already fucked.
yeah. So
You don't have to roll, you just get the 10.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so sad.
Tate, we've got a whole bunch of insanity going on, and let me explain what's going on. One of the men in the ring, asleep, is Senric.
Of course.
Hulk Hogan. In the ring.
And with your 100 you see, this is a hallucination. You
Not
see,
to me, it ain't.
yeah, you actually see Senric rise, and you see him walk off into the woods, and you follow him.
I do.
Okay, we're gonna get back to you. Don't worry.
Oh, have no fear.
Yeah. So the rest of you that rolled 1d10, what happened?
10.
Okay.
All had 10.
10.
They're so fucked.
Okay.
10
Sorry,
points.
I just had to say that.
Wow.
to
You even
So
roll for
fucked.
int on that? Like,
I mean, I can.
Unless you've
You
got
want me
20%, unless that's 20%.
That is 20%. Yeah.
My
would have been for
intelligence-
me.
I'm sorry, what is the rule?
well, basically, if you lose more than, like, what is it, 6 or 5 or something at a time, then you would have a temporary
Then
bout of-
5.
Okay,
If you
so then-
lose 20%, then you get longer duration insanity.
Yeah.
So we
Ooh,
actually have
give me a
somebody who
long
hit
term.
that.
So fucked.
Yeah, I get a long-term insanity.
so do I need to roll against my intelligence next, or
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, and this is one you don't want to make. You
Oh,
want to
ooh,
fail
too-
this.
I rolled
Too
a
bad.
4.
Too bad
Yeah,
my
that's
intelligence
bad.
is 70. I made
So,
it.
so the rule of thumb: fail sanity, fail intelligence. If you
One
make your
success.
Hard
intelligence score,
success.
all bad.
Yeah.
Hard
I
made
had an
it.
extreme success. Okay.
Yeah.
4.
So
Dancing.
so everyone except Wise Agnes is now crazy. So we have
I get a long-term.
Bjarn who's dancing with the Cymri soldier who's around the ring. Brother Mueller. I always like to. How are you insane? Like what's going on?
That's me. Yeah, I was like waiting for you to tell me.
He probably ran out of beer.
Does this have something to do with beer?
That's absolutely.
Well, you said they're in a ring, right, of mushrooms.
You are not currently in the ring. You are outside of the ring. There are 4 people who appear to be either sleeping or you do see them breathing, so you know they're alive. But otherwise, there's corpses in the trees. There's mutilated people.
A man anachronistically dressed in black tie appears, like the butler out of The Shining.
Okay.
It hands Brother Magnus a giant goblet of beer, and they begin to strike up a conversation. Oh, this is fabulous. That's wonderful. Well, I don't understand, though. What is this costume you're wearing? Why are you in this ring? What brings you here? And he starts talking to the man
Got
while
you.
drinking his
Okay.
beer.
And Derwin,
I got a long-term insanity. So.
you got long term. Derwin, you have become convinced that the Lord needs you to reconcile with your ex-lover, and
Sorry.
you are now that is something that you believe that God has told you to do. You believe that you need to get back with her, and that you need to have children and have a long, happy life with this woman who wants absolutely nothing to do with you, and that is your new obsession.
Hell yeah.
For basically the rest of your life.
Walker.
I'll sit outside of her window. Like...
Oh, and Mueller will start singing too.
Yeah, and that's a great song to sing too, actually. All right, so all of you are doing that. Wise Agnes, what are you up to?
Okay, who was it who went into the woods?
That was Tate.
Tate.
Mm.
Okay. And the trees seem to be letting Tate into the woods?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to follow Tate because out of everybody here, at least Tate is heading away from the crazy ring.
Sure.
What you don't know is she's completely fucking insane.
Yeah, but there is strength in numbers, and you're the least insane looking person because at least you're heading
that's
away
because I'm the
from
most
this.
insane person.
There's proximal insanity, and then there's distal insanity, and you are distal insanity.
So you go ahead and follow Tate into the woods. He is running at this point, and he turns around once to look at you, and you see his face is filled with, or her face. Sorry, Tate. Her face
You're
is
fine.
filled with joy, just pure joy. And then she turns and runs further into the woods. Do you want to follow her?
I'm not going to keep up with her because she's running, and I've got a little bit of tracking, so I'm going to head in the same general direction and listen for the screams.
So I am going to begin running the other direction back towards town because I need to find my ex-lover immediately.
It should block you. You are unable to be the ring, which obviously causes you intense distress too, because you have a mission to complete now, which is to get back. What's your ex-lover's name?
I don't know. You tell me.
Rita.
Lovely Rita.
Need a little bit of Rita in my life.
So the trees
A
actually
little bit of Monica.
which cause you extreme distress. So hold on just one moment.
A little bit of fungicide.
We are being followed.
All right. Well,
Listen, I'll be right back.
everyone then could also now make an additional power roll.
Okay. Everyone?
Everyone. Except for Tate, who is and Wise Agnes. Everyone except Tate and Wise Agnes.
What roll?
Hard success.
For
Thanks
power.
for the follow, all Mad Cats here, 86.
So who lost?
Welcome to the brigade.
Me.
Okay. So you two are now actually driven into a frenzied dance again. Well, you're already a frenzied.
I'm already dancing.
Yeah. So actually, you, Bjarn, now you actually now enter the ring and lie down and
Okay.
fall asleep. And then you, Derwin, you do start to dance maniacally around the ring. And then if you could also, Bjarn, then roll percentile dice. Just dice, yeah.
Always a bad sign. Just roll some dice.
72.
72, okay. That's good. That's good. You do not end up in the dreamland. So
Yeah, man.
Aw.
This music is awesome.
That's all. Now, basically, not sure.
Agnes is standing there as everyone else is going mad.
So, Byron had to leave. I was gonna say I wanted to take care of Tate's stuff. So, I guess I will not deal with Tate's stuff. Why don't you guys describe the scene as you see it? Like, what do you have going on? What are you doing?
I'm dancing.
You're dancing. Okay. And you're lying, Bjarn, are lying asleep in the mushroom ring. And
So it's kind of like a rave, except when Magnus is off on the side drinking with the butler and singing like songs while getting intoxicated, which is great.
okay. And Wise Agnes ran away, which was probably a good idea. However, the trees are trapping you in the clearing. So, do you have other ideas, Wise Agnes?
What? You said I could follow Tate. The trees are trapping me after I followed Tate.
I saw you. I saw the get the fuck out, and I thought you meant the.
No, that was following Tate.
I got you. I misunderstood what that meant. Yeah, you follow Tate. You guys go for some distance. And
Tate is well ahead of me, so if the trees start to cut me off when I get separated from Tate, that's fine. But
no, you're able to continue to follow him. And he has stopped at a small pool, like a pool of water.
Mm.
And you just see him, sorry, Byron. You see her kneeling at the water's edge, and she is praying.
okay. So she's paying no attention to me whatsoever.
No, she is not.
All right.
What is Tate seeing in front of her?
What happened to you is that it appears that Senric got away from you,
Okay.
and you have the trees kind of block you off, and so they had led you, the trees and Senric hallucination had led you to this pool, and so you in your insanity with Senric now like kind of missing, you that's when you decided to pray.
Okay.
And then Wise Agnes, you do, like I said, you do finally catch up to her, and she is praying at this pool.
Okay. Between insight, my knowledge of drugs, I'm trying to figure out a way to snap Tate out of this. So, I mean, I'm happy to try the sort of things that I would use to wake someone up from a deep sleep.
Yeah, you know what? Go ahead and roll for. Let me look at your sheet. I guess potions, right? Go ahead and roll. Like,
Sure.
if you can figure out, because you have arts and crafts, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is basically like, okay, I'm going to spend luck to make the roll. So
I think you should. It is 20 minutes.
yeah. So yeah, I'm spending 10 luck to turn that 55 into a 45, a success.
Dan, you're totally right. That's really good use. Okay. You are actually able to snap Tate. I mean, Tate still has the idea that Senric is out there. Okay. She's still got some delusions going on, but you are able to get her attention, and you're able to make it so that she can listen and understand what you're saying.
It's more impressive than you think if you knew Tate's backstory.
Tate, the others have been driven insane. I think something was influencing you as well. We have to get out of here. We have to let the Theorn know what has happened here. We have to find a way, and you at least managed to leave the circle. The others, I don't think they will ever leave.
So I rolled a power check to see just how well I could kind of shake off what's going on in my mind.
Yeah.
Especially based off of like what we talked about with my backstory.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I look Agnes in the eyes and I pull my sword from its sheath.
I back away.
No. Not in an attack stance. I hand it to you. And I just kind of like raise my arms up like this and fall backwards into the pool and just say, God has chosen me to live with Senric forever. And I just like drown myself.
Wow.
This is some really nice music.
And I give Agnes my sword to protect her.
I'm coming off a mute to say, fuck. Wow.
Ow.
Wow.
Okay.
Byron, you're always in my games. Like, stuff.
There's a chance I'd find myself in this situation, though, based off of what we talked about.
It is true. Yeah. All right, Agnes, you have a sword. You have lost several companions. What are you up to?
Okay, I am looking to get as far away from that ring of danger as possible. If anything starts to herd me toward, I'm gonna delay and try not to get there before dawn. But yeah, I'm trying to get away because I'm not stupid.
Fun.
Go ahead and roll another power check.
Okay. That would be. You know what? It would be a hard success, but I'm going to spend 8 luck to make it an extreme success.
Hell yeah, you are.
Okay, Wise Agnes, that is great that you did that. You, um, you know nothing of the ways of war, but you are aware that you may need protection. So you're holding this sword that you don't even really know how to hold ahead of you, and you actually close your eyes and walk forward with this sword. And even though you have absolutely no faith in the church because of what has happened to you in your life, you do have that basic belief in God, belief in a greater good. And so you, or I hope you do, Rain. I'm sorry if I'm speaking for you, but you, but you're able through basically your force of will and your wisdom and your belief to walk out of the Eseweald alive, and you actually are closer to Cordwan, and you figure out how to get there, and you let that community know what has happened. And so then you basically spend um, about a month there just recovering basically from the experience that you have had, which is helped certainly by your own knowledge of potions and being a healer. So you're able to kind of help yourself get better more quickly than other people might have. And then you head back with a escort from Cordwan, and they take you back to Totburh, and you find yourself before Oswin the Thane. And it's obviously, so it's been 6 weeks since you've last seen him when he sent you to go find his son and the others. What do you have to say to him?
It was the worst thing I have ever been through, and I've been through a lot. The things in that wood were nearly irresistible. All of us were called to this horrific ring. This ring full of fungus and these people who were, I don't know, they seem to be serving it, although that makes no sense. The trees, it felt like they were moving. They were hemming us in. I was lucky enough that somehow this same force, something led Tate away, and I was able to follow her for a time before she gave me her sword and drowned herself. I saw your son's body there, but he is lost. All of them are lost, and this place, it needs to be destroyed. It and everyone who is a part of it needs to be destroyed. And I'm sorry that I could do no more than this, but at least I could bring the word to you of what happened.
Oh my god. Oh my god, what a tale. And he comes forward from behind his big table there in the main hall, and he takes your hands in his own. And Ernwul, the manorial priest, he is there as well. And all of you, the three of you, pray together, even though that may not be the most comforting thing to you in the world. You still feel that at least you are safe now.
Mm-hmm.
So that was Eseweald, or however you pronounce it, from the Dark Ages source book. Let me tell you a little bit about what was really going on. So, you have what's your
Oh, it's just
well,
I
on
was
a dark
starting.
person.
Southwest Highway, cool wind in my hair, warm smell of ale rising up the air.
When you typed,
And
we went insane. Oh my
That's
fucking
awesome.
God.
my head grew heavy. I had to stop for the
That's
night.
great.
Oh, fuck, dude.
So, what there was in that grove basically a horde, a very small, eldritch being. Basically, it's this big, and it's buried down beneath that ring. Omag, the charcoal burner village leader, he had actually cut off the head of that Cymric warrior. And if you had hung out for dinner, you would have perhaps eaten some of the stew that had.
Yeah. I like it.
What else happened? So basically the puka, Ada, the daughter of Omag, was actually a puka. They can disguise themselves as human children for an amount of time. Basically, in the book, the stat says like as many minutes as their power. So yeah, that you guys discovered quite a bit of it. So that's what happened. You guys went insane, and only wise Agnes lives to tell the tale.
Yay!
Yay! Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was amazing.
Well, it was something anyway. I had a
It
lot of
was
fun.
amazing. Come on.